What in the heck happened, y'all? What the heck happened, y'all? I have no clue. I think we're back, though. I think we're back. This is nuts. This is not the way we wanted to start today's show off. But welcome back to Attack on Cowboys. I think. Let me look at this before I start even talking, man, because I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be upset if I do this whole talking thing again and the stream just drop out on your boy. They trying to keep me from being great today, I see. They trying to keep me from being great today. Wow. Okay. Are we streaming? Are people in here, bruh? Are y'all in here? Do we actually have people in the live stream with us? Because what just happened? This is nuts. This is nuts, bro. And now I can't even tell if I'm live anymore. I can't see my chat or nothing. Oh, YouTube tripping. We're going to have to cut all this out. If we live right now, we're going to have to cut it all out. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, this is irritating. I ain't even gonna lie. That's a little bit irritating. I don't know what's going on with that. I think we're good, though. I'm about to say, it looks like, I think we're live. It looks like we're live now. Yeah, I'm about to say, bruh, I don't know what just happened. I really don't. I have no clue what just happened, y'all. That was kind of weird. Wow. Okay, then. Let me check this. Make sure we good. All right, y'all. All right. All right, yeah. I don't know what happened. All right, anyways. We have a very, very interesting show for y'all today. We are going to be going over the bombshell media report about Mike McCarthy, brought to us by Bobby Belt of 105.3 The Fan. On top of that, we have some interesting news concerning the Dallas Cowboys head coaching search. Y'all do me a favor as you come in here. Go ahead and leave a like on the live stream. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the live stream kind of spazzed out on your boy. So leave a like on the live stream for me as you come in. And we're going to wait a little bit to get some of the people back in here that were here originally. While we do that, though, I want to start doing these live shows with y'all more, right? But I got to make sure that I'm doing things the right way as it pertains to handle my business. So if y'all want me to start doing these live shows with y'all more, all you have to do is start showing your support by hitting the link that I'm going to be putting in the pinned comment in the live chat. All right, you'll see this in the live stream chat box. Hit that pinned comment. And just, send some support to your boy. Ask a question if you want me to answer your question in the middle of the live stream, especially when we start getting into this 105.3 deal with Mike McCarthy. I'm going to be really trying to lock in. We're going to be really focused on like the analysis half of this. All right, so we're not going to be leaning as much into the entertainment and stuff. I'm going to try to keep this at a tone where it's easily digestible for everyone. But to support the show, please leave all tips and donations. Hit this link. All right, I just put it in the live chat, but now I think the show is running. Okay, yeah, we're getting some people running up in here. Again, as y'all come in, please do me a favor. Let's leave a like. I don't want to get into the meat of the show today until we got a good amount of people in here. Because I'm just really not trying to repeat myself a whole lot, and I don't want nobody coming in. Oh, did you already talk about it? Yes, we already talked about it, Jim Bob. We already talked about it. So we're gonna let people get in here for a second. I just kind of wanna test the tones and see how everybody's feeling right now. How's everyone feeling right now, as it pertains to everything going on in Dallas Cowboys land? Because it hasn't been good, y'all. It hasn't been good. There we go. We got the chat showing up and stuff now. All right, cool. It hasn't been good. Charles Atkinson, and I'm just kind of read y'all comments as y'all are coming in. Let me see. Again, leave a like, man. The like to people ratio in here is kind of wiggity whack right now. Leave a like for your boy, man. We ain't getting started until y'all fulfill my obligations. There's 92 people watching. We only got 17 likes. Pre-like the stream. I promise y'all it's going to be a good show. But as we're doing that, I was going to kind of say what's up to everybody that is coming into the chat. I like to interact with my chat. I like to interact with y'all. I like y'all to feel a part of the show. So we do this as we get started with our live show. But anyways, we have Mr. Wright, Antoine Myers, up in the chat, pissed off with this Kellen Moore interview. Man, we're going to get there. Trust me, we have a lot to talk about. And I think y'all let me know in the chat, what do y'all want to do? Do y'all want to go ahead and get into the reaction of this Mike McCarthy hit job, and then kind of let that lead us into the rest of the topics? I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think I kind of want to get into that reaction. What's going on, Drizzle God? Jesus C. Mike, what's going on, my brother? Jarrett Thomas. He said this is a messy situation attack. I'm going to let y'all know, man, I kind of listened to this a little bit, and I think my take on this may surprise some of y'all. Hopefully in not a negative way, but it's possible that this is going to surprise some of y'all. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all, because I have a very, very I have a take that has some depth to it. And like I said, anytime we're going into this mode, we're really trying to meta-analyze. We're really trying to meta-analyze a situation that doesn't have much evidence to work with, right? Anytime we go into one of these type of situations, you have to put your emotions to the side. You have to put how you feel about Dak, how you feel about Mike, how you feel about Jerry to the side. And that is including myself. I'm going to listen to this with impartial ears, so that way I can give you guys the best analysis possible, because I think that's just, I mean, you guys are allowing me to have this platform. I think it's only fair that I put my best foot forward and stay true to what y'all fell in love with this platform. And that's me keeping it a buck, regardless of whether I like what I'm hearing or not, bruh. So we're going to make sure we're doing that. Let me see. Papa Savage, what's going up, brother? Charles Atkins, attack you the man. I respect your candor and intelligence. I appreciate you, Charles Atkins. Wish more people felt the same. Mr. Two Money Bags, what is going on? I'm excited for new vibes. Not if it's Kellen. Not going to be new vibes if it's Kellen, Mr. Money Bags. I'm telling you right now. Clebo, what's going on, my brother? Let me see. Who else we got up in here? Mike said, bro, I look forward to your videos. Always entertaining and informative. Yes, sir. I try to be. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support. Dak owns Filthy. What's going on, my mod? My underpaid, overworked mod. You ain't really overworked. You don't have to moderate a lot of streams. Quit crying. Dak owns Filthy. You don't have to work a lot of streams. You're not overworked. He said the rare live for my guy. Vesica, or it's the truth. Decoose. Fox Sports 1 just posted news flash. Deion said he would accept the Cowboys job if offered. Fox Sports 1 is late as hell, because we all seen it as soon as we got up this morning. I am Leah this time. Mike McCarthy is good at developing players. He developed the players. Now we need a coach that knows how to use their talent, clock management, play calling. I don't know about the whole developing players thing, and I think we're going to get into some of that with this bombshell that we're going to be listening to from 105.3 The Fan. We got 139 people up in here. If we can get to 100 likes, we'll go ahead and get the show rolling. We already got 100-something people in here, 100 plus, bro. I'm not even asking for 90% of y'all to like the video right now. I just need 100 of y'all to like this mug so we can get this mug rolling. And I know that everyone is awake. Everyone is alive. Everyone knows what's going on. And if you're just listening to this while you're driving or something, man, risk your life for half a second and hit the like button and then get back on the road. Anywho, let's go ahead and discuss some of these other topics before we get into the main course here. Because there's some quick things I want to touch on here. I think a lot of you guys are wanting to discuss with me. Regarding Deion Sanders, this is from Ed Warder. I'm being told that he would most certainly accept if Jerry Jones offers to make him the next Cowboys head coach. That those around him are encouraging him to pursue it, and that Jones is enamored with the idea. I'm going to let y'all know this right now. What I think this is I think this is a situation where both parties are able to benefit from a media storm. And yes, Coach Prime today came out and said, I'm Coach Prime. I don't need any negotiating power as it pertains to him not using the Cowboys job as a ploy to kind of run up his value to Colorado as he tries to negotiate an extension there, which has been reported that is something that is on the table and ongoing, is he's trying to negotiate an extension with Colorado. So that's why this whole Cowboys thing, there's a lot of something smells strange going on with this Deion and Cowboys situation, because they're just oddly quiet. They're oddly silent. They're both oddly low-key about this, and I'm just not sure how much credence is going into this. Now, CeeDee Lamb has liked the post that talked about this and discussing Deion as the head coach for the Cowboys, so obviously CeeDee Lamb would like something like this. I think we saw someone else like this post as well. I think Michael Parsons commented on it and said he would like this as well. So obviously some of the younger Cowboys on the team, they would absolutely love this move. But My thing with Deion Sanders, and if you watched the Cowboys collective last night, and trust me, it was a heated one. So if you didn't watch it, I promise you missed some seriously good stuff. My thing with Deion Sanders is this. And chat, I'm asking you this. I'm going to give you guys a second to respond while I'm kind of going through my line of reasoning here. My thing with Deion Sanders is this. I feel like this is another situation where people are enamored with the name, with the person, and not what the person has actually done to give them credibility or establish any sort of ethos within their field of work. What Deion Sanders has been able to accomplish on the college level is because college football and the way college football and team building works in college football is literally tailored. It is literally tailored for a Deion Sanders. In college football, the greatest salesman is going to be the person who gets the most talent. And the greatest salesman of all time as it pertains to football has to be one prime-time Deion Sanders. So something that he's amazing at doing is selling himself. Something he's amazing at doing is marketing. Something he's amazing at doing is recruiting. Now, that element is specific to college football. That element is specifically what has led to the turnaround for the Colorado Buffaloes. Why do I say that? Colorado went from 1-11 to whatever they were this past season, right? Deion had a nice little turnaround, 9-4 or something like that, right? Deion got a nice little turnaround within 2 seasons. You know how you're able to do that at Colorado? You're able to do that by having nationally ranked recruiting classes 2 years in a row for a school that traditionally doesn't get anywhere near a nationally ranked recruiting class. So what you're seeing is Colorado Buffaloes getting better by default. They're getting better by having better talent. That's what you're seeing. Not even talking about the conference that they're in, right? What happens when you see Prime and Colorado go against a school that has equal talent, a little bit better talent, or even maybe a little bit lesser talent, but they have an actual system in place. They have a real program that they're running. They have a real identity as far as how they play football. Can any of you guys tell me what is the Colorado Buffaloes identity? What is the Colorado Buffaloes identity as under Deion Sanders? What is their football identity? Not their social media handles on their back of their shirts, not having concerts in the locker room, not having 3.0 GPAs. I'm talking about on the field, schematically. What is the Colorado Buffaloes' identity? That's the question. So anytime we've seen them go up against the BYU, anytime we've seen them go against the USC or any of these other schools that were in the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever you want to call it, that were in the Pac before they moved to Big 12 this season, last season, anytime we've seen Colorado go against a school with equal talent or maybe a little bit less or maybe a little bit more, what has happened? They've been out-coached. They've been outplayed. The games have rarely ever even been competitive. And that is because we're not seeing Colorado be great because of great coaching. We're seeing them be great because they have an improved level of talent. And until Deion starts winning games in which you can actually point to and say, the coach won them that game, that was a great game plan and scheming game. That was a great coaching effort. There's not one game any of you guys in the chat we can all agree on and say, yeah, that's the game where that happened. There's not one situation where y'all can say that anything I'm saying is false without using anything other than facts. If you want to put your emotions into it because you think he'll be a great motivational tool and all that, guess what? He didn't motivate those people he had at Colorado his first season. He couldn't motivate his offensive line until he got new guys, and you can't do that in the NFL. The NFL has a salary cap. The NFL doesn't give players free will to choose where they want to go at the beginning of the year, every single year, via transfer portal. The NFL doesn't allow coaches just to get any and every player and to handpick players that they want with amazing talent. 5-star blue chip receivers all over the NFL doesn't allow you to do that. So Deion has had a team where he had guys that needed motivation to get him the mission accomplished. And what happened? They were terrible. They were underwhelming. That was his first year at Colorado. This second year, same situation happened. Every time you lost, it's been because, oh, we don't have the guys yet. Oh, we don't have the line yet. Oh, so what happens when you get to the Cowboys? You don't have the line, like we haven't had a line. What happens when you get to the Cowboys? You don't have linebackers, like we didn't have linebackers in the past. What happens when you get to the Cowboys? You don't have a safety, like we don't have safeties for real right now. What happens when you get to the Cowboys when you don't have 5-star receivers across the board, like we don't have 5-star receivers across the board right now? Can you motivate those guys? What we've seen so far in colleges, no. You told them to get into the transfer portal because you can do that in college, because you can change over a roster with 40-plus guys coming in, brand new. You cannot do that in the NFL. While I will not be upset at a Deion Prime Sanders hire, I will not be excited. I'm not going to hype it up. I'm not going to act like just because he knows how to give a good motivational speech that that's all you need to be a good NFL head coach, because it's not, y'all. It's not. It's nothing against Deion. I have no hate in my heart for Deion Sanders. That is the truth. That is reality. That is factual evidence that's been put on paper. That is empirical data used to convey an argument. That's what that is. And I want to see how y'all can argue against that. Now, we're gonna look at the chat real quick before we move on to the next topic. Get your questions in right now as I'm looking through the chat, because I don't want to be lingering too long just looking at my screen like I won't be doing that. All right, so as it pertains to the stuff I said about Deion, let me see. Jared Thomas said, "How did they go?" Are we talking about that? Are we talking about Airborne Cowboy said, if it ain't Deion, it's a disappointment. I completely disagree with you. In fact, I think that Deion Sanders is on the lower rung of the ladder as it pertains to the best possible head coaching situation for the Cowboys. The best possible situation for the Dallas Cowboys as it pertains to the coaches that they can have on his team is having Aaron Glenn as your head coach, Al Harris is your defensive coordinator, bring Doug Nussmeier back as your offensive coordinator, put Jason Witten as a tight ends coach to placate Jerry Jones, bring in Sean Lee as a linebackers coach, and fill in the rest of that staff with whoever Aaron Glenn wants. That's the best case scenario for the Cowboys in my mind. You have continuity on both sides of the football. You have defensive coordinator that's been here, understands the players, understands their strengths and weaknesses, understands what we need to get better, understands how we can excel. We have an offensive coordinator that helped Dak Prescott become who Dak Prescott is, so he understands the strengths and weaknesses of your quarterback, and he's going to work in concert with a Dak Prescott to come up with something, come up with a scheme, to utilize a scheme that is comfortable for Dak and plays to his strengths, and then you would have a head coach who's capable of managing all of that. All right, so factuals. So that's what I'm saying. We're all hyping up Deion because you're looking at his star power, you're looking at the celebrity, you're looking at the excitement and the hype he would bring, and you're thinking that translates to the NFL when it doesn't, bro. It doesn't. Some of the best coaches in the NFL are some of the most low-profile coaches, man. So we got to pump the brakes a little bit. Deion would be cool. Deion is a much better option, in my opinion, than Kellen Moore. But let's pump the brakes on the Deion Sanders thing just a wee bit, right? And appreciate the $20 from David. Appreciate you. Big shout out. You did use the super chat, but you know, it is what it is. I appreciate the twanky, David. I appreciate it. Use the link in the pinned chat next time, man. I ain't gonna yell too much on this stream, y'all. I said this would be a more analytical stream. We're not gonna do all the yelling and stuff. Use the link. Use the motherfucking link on motherfucking chat next time, David. All right. Let's move to the next news article after I kind of take a look at some of the stuff y'all were saying. Cowboys hater herder says BYU didn't think so. Exactly. Deion is a brand name in football. I totally agree. Jerry wants his golden boy Jason Witten. Best way to do that is to sign Kellen Moore head coach now. Unfortunately, I think that's what he's going to do. I think that's probably the leader in the clubhouse right now. Mr. Antoine says, is being a motivational coach have value to me? Yes. Look, y'all. Look. When I'm laying out the realistic reasons why the things you're excited about for Deion Sanders doesn't necessarily have anything to do with his ability to be a head coach in the NFL, I am not discounting his positives, okay? So maybe I need to take a step back and also include the things that I think are positive about a Deion Sanders. I think a Deion Sanders wouldn't be a terrible choice for the Cowboys because I do think that he would be able to reach the players that he does have, especially the players with talent, the players that already play at a higher level, already high-level guys. I think he would be able to reach those people because what we can't say is we haven't really seen Deion develop anybody at Colorado. Who's been developed at Colorado? Who went to Colorado and came out as more than what they were when they went there? You know what I'm saying? Who went to Colorado as an under-recruited 2-star, 3-star recruit and came out as a top 10 pick in the draft? No one. All of his top draft picks are the same people we all knew were going to be top draft picks when they came out of high school. Really, Travis Hunter. So Deion, even in that degree, is like really his most positive attribute, and the only thing you can really say could translate in a football environment, no matter what level, is the motivational aspect, is the aspect of being able to relate to your guys. But again, my problem with that thing and my problem with that point of view is, brother, we haven't seen him be able to do that with lesser talent on other levels. So if Jerry Jones is going to stick this man with rosters like what he had this season, what Mike McCarthy had this season, why are we confident that Deion is going to get the best out of those guys when we haven't seen him get the best out of the groups he's had? And we can say that fairly because if he got the best out of this last year's Colorado team, they would have beaten BYU. And that's just what it is. That would be getting the best out of those guys, is them actually finishing the season and beating a team that they really, honestly, are probably better than. That is what should have happened if we're looking at him getting the best out of guys. So that is my reluctance. Again, I think he's a great motivator. I think he's a great leader of men. But I also think that it takes a little bit more than that to be an NFL head coach. I think it takes great management skills. I think it takes an ability to put together a coaching staff and actually develop a system of play. I think that we can look at the Colorado Buffaloes, and again, they have no identity. What is their identity? Those of you that are arguing on behalf of Deion in the chat, what is the Colorado Buffaloes' identity? Tell me that right now in the chat. All right. Airborne Cowboy said, "No, you're wrong about that, my man. Deion has the intangibles of getting the most out of players on both." No. He has the intangibles of getting the most out of his guys off the field for sure. Young men, young guys that need daddy figures. He has the intangibles to do that, y'all. We've seen him do that. Unmuted said, my guy Unmuted said, "Man, you can't really use that. You may lose a few games in college. How in the world 1-4-10? Hey, man, y'all still haven't argued against the stuff I've already said. Do y'all feel like he got the most out of those Colorado teams? Specifically this past year, do y'all feel like he got the most out of the guys that he forced to enter the transfer portal because he felt like they weren't good enough players for him to coach them? Did he get the most out of those players, man? I'm just asking. Did he get the most out of those players? Here's the difference between Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell actually has been a play caller at some point. Dan Campbell actually has called an offense. Dan Campbell has a identity that you can see that he is imprinted on that team. What is the Colorado Buffaloes' identity? Kenny Tucker. How did he get the most out of Colorado when they lost to a team that everyone picked them to beat? How did he get the most out of that team? Not only did they lose, they got the doors blown off of them at BYU. Is that getting the most? So, Kenny, based off of that argument, what you're saying is if the Cowboys go 12-5 under Deion Sanders and then get beat by 50 points again by another team like Green Bay, that's getting the best out the Cowboys? That's hypocritical to me. I cannot sit here and act like, oh, he got the most out of it. No, he did not. No, he did not. No, he did not. No, he did not. You said so far as the record goes, Unmuted, I think you may have missed my whole point about why that record isn't impressive to me. You see, in college football, you can turn a program around by simply having an injection of star power come to the program at the head coaching position, because college football is mainly about recruiting. The biggest superpower a coach needs to have in college football is the ability to recruit. And Deion is a master at that. So he is best suited for a college football team building environment. So when you have a team in Colorado that doesn't have a nationally ranked recruiting class for Lord knows how long before Deion got there, and then Deion's star power alone, not his coaching ability, nothing else, his star power alone encouraged either guys to sign there or transfer there that ended up resulting in back-to-back top-ranked national recruiting classes. How do you not go from 1-11 to a 9-4 when you have that big of a talent swing? What I said was we haven't seen him win a coach's game. We haven't... Unmuted. What? Unmuted. I'm going to add the calls and stuff. Hey, y'all donate. Hit the link in the chat, man, so I can pay for all these damn subscriptions and stuff y'all want. Hey, man, y'all got to support the show. Y'all want me adding call-ins and all this stuff, man. I got to pay subscriptions for that. I got a kid to feed. I got a family to feed. I got a home to keep, man. Y'all got to help me, man. Help me help you, man. Damn, man. Use the link in the pin chat and send some damn funds, man. And I get all that stuff for y'all this summer. I promise, man. I want to start doing live shows 3 times a week. But if y'all ass ain't going to leave a like on a video at least, I can't even do that, man. I can't even do that. I can't even do that. But, like I was saying, I still haven't seen anybody answer my question. What is the Colorado Buffaloes' identity, man? I still haven't seen that. Brother, I am 31 years old. I don't know how young I look. I am 31 years old. Boy, I've been with my wife for 10 years. I have a daughter that is almost 8 years old. She's going to be 8 this year. I am a grown-ass man, Antoine. I'm a grown-ass man, dog. All right, but real quick, we're about to move on from Deion because I just really wasn't trying to spend this much time on Deion. Really wasn't trying to spend this much time on Deion. You said Prime need time with that team he took over, a team that was horrible and made it something to watch. Now, if he has more time, I think eventually he would have an identity. Right, so let him do that. I am not saying that Prime can't be an amazing NFL coach. I'm not saying none of that. Y'all. I'm not saying none of that. I'm saying he hasn't shown us enough to make us excited to think that Prime coming here is going to be the sole thing that changes this organization around. He hasn't done enough to make us think that Prime coming here makes this team better. We don't know that. That's my only argument. That is my only argument, okay? I'm not saying Deion can eventually become like an amazing guy or none of that. That's my only argument. No, John Cena, I think Jerry is too racist to hire someone like an Anthony Lynn or a Leslie Frazier or any other of these Rooney Rule last interviews that he's doing. He's definitely too racist to hire some of them dudes, but I think Deion's been in the White House enough with Jerry, man. I think he's comfortable with him, brother. That's all that matters is comfortability with Jerry. I think he's comfortable with him enough. He's one of those moon crickets you can trust. All right, let me stop if I get my entire stream clapped. Nobody repeat that word. Kids, if you're watching, don't call nobody a moon cricket, man. Nobody repeat that. Nobody repeat that. I know I said it. I'm amending it. Damn, John Cena. Damn. You can't see me? You can't see people being able to adjust their takes a little bit, man? Damn, John Cena. I just said, damn. I just said I have to amend that a little bit. He ain't gonna hire no Anthony Lynn or Brian Flores. He not gonna hire no disgruntled looking black man. Jerry not doing that. He is not hiring no disgruntled looking black man. He not hiring no roots looking ass black man to be the head coach of his organization. That is just factuals. He's gonna hire a black man that know how to shuck and jive when all his rich friends come over. That's what it's gonna be, man. That's what it's gonna be. I ain't trying to say nothing about Deion, but we just keeping it a buck, man. So it's a pipe dream. It's a pipe dream to think that Aaron Glenn is gonna come here and any of these other guys, bro. He said, hey, Sue said, what the hell is a moon cricket? I ain't never heard of that one. Brother, I grew up in the South my whole life. You'll be amazed at some of the stuff I done heard. Bro. Now, let's move on to the next bit of news, because, again, I wasn't trying to talk about Deion that long. Y'all wasn't talking about no Deion that long. All right. Robert Saleh on Saturday, Leslie Frazier on Monday. Leslie Frazier, everybody say it with me in the chat. 3, 2, 1. Everybody type it in the chat right now. Rooney Rule. Rooney Rule. Rooney Rule. That is Leslie Frazier. Straight up. Ain't no way they interview him for any other reason other than to satisfy the updated Rooney Rule, in which you have to interview 2 outside minority candidates. All right, so a candidate with some melanin in their skin, essentially. Rooney Rule. Everybody say it with me. Rooney Rule. Facts, bruh. Facts. So that's what that is. Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh is very, very interesting to me because I think he's best served as a defensive coordinator right now. I think he is best served as a defensive coordinator. I think when some guys, when you put more responsibility on their plate, it dampens their superpower. And I think Robert Saleh is a great defensive mind. And I think when you put the responsibility on his plate of trying to be a head coach, and then you put the responsibility on his plate of trying to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and then you put the responsibility on his plate of trying to be a head coach of the Dallas Cowboys under Jerry Jones, I think you have severely dampened what his superpowers would be for this organization. And that's why I would prefer Robert Saleh as an assistant head coach or a defensive coordinator type of position if someone else were to come in here, right? So Robert Saleh, I like that name. That's not a name where I'm like, what is Jerry doing? That's not one of those names, but prefer him as a defensive coordinator. Now, John Cena, man, I feel sorry for people like you, man. You just cannot fathom the fact that people can change or morph their opinion differently based off of new information being gleaned. You just cannot stand that fact, man. You can't stand that. Now, we have some drama. To go through, ladies and gentlemen. We have a bombshell dropped about head coach Mike McCarthy by 105.3 The Fan and Bobby Belt. We're going to listen to this entire thing, and I am going to objectively give my input and my meta-analysis of what we're hearing, and we're going to try to decipher what someone that's trying to just say, hey, I was right, I told you so, and what's actually genuine. And I'm going to tell you this based off of what I've heard so far. I feel like a lot of this may be genuine information that he's heard, but not necessarily all of it is something that's actually taken place. Now, let's get right into this. This is the juicy stuff. Y'all let me know in the chat if the volume is cool. Can y'all hear that? What is going on with my audio? I don't feel like y'all can hear my audio. And that is disturbing a little bit. I don't feel like y'all can hear my audio. And that is disturbing. Y'all couldn't hear the audio, huh? See, I figured. Bro, what is going on? Why is the audio not working? Oh, the volume's not muted. I hear it through the headset. For some reason, though. Oh, you know what? There we go. Now let's try it.
And the other day, when
there we go.
On after
We're
the
good.
Mike McCarthy departure and the news of it, Bobby said,
thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat for me.
Thursday, 7:20, I'll finally do it. So we're calling this, good nickname by Bobby, the Mike McCarthy T. Take it away, sir.
Okay.
All right. So what we have here is the Mike McCarthy. First off, real sassy name for a segment, but that's neither here nor there. It's clever if it was for like a Lifetime reality TV show segment or something. Can y'all hear the volume now? Okay, we're good. All right. Interesting stuff coming up. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just coming into the stream, can y'all please do me a favor? Let's get the stream up to 200 likes. The more people that are showing support for the stream, the longer we can riff and the more I can try to get you guys involved. Again, we are trying to build towards bringing in a call-in section, and not only just a call-in, but I'm trying to get it to where I can let some of you guys do video call-ins and stuff like that. So help me build this plane while we fly, as my good friend Law Nation says, and I promise you guys, you will be rewarded with much better content, and eventually I'll be able to really start doing more of what I want to do for you guys. But let's get into this, bro. This is crazy stuff.
Okay, so before we start, I want to just make a couple things, get a couple things out of the way, because there's already been a lot of discussion from people who are anticipating, oh, this is going to be a certain thing, or oh, you're going to get this here or there. First off, also, by the way, I'm letting anybody.
Quit talking about me, Bobby Belt. I know you talking about me, man. I know y'all be seeing my stuff. I know all these people be seeing my stuff. Some of my stuff is some of the highest tracking Cowboys stuff. I know y'all be seeing it. Quit talking about me,
who's
man.
Listening right now, who plans on texting me during this? My phone is going to be on the couch over there. I don't even want to be distracted by it right now. So my phone's not next to me. If you try to text me in the next 40 minutes,
and see, this is what I'm talking about. And I'm not even gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna go crazy, but Joey Fuller, no, not Joey Fuller. Big Daddy Riggs. I'm not coming at your head, brother, but this is like the thing I'm trying to avoid doing when we're trying to really figure out what's going on with this team. We cannot lead with our emotions and any preconceived notions. We have to come in here and actually listen to the information being given and figure out and decipher what's actually real, what's actually not, and then make it apply to what we have all experienced in our realities watching and being fans of this team, bro. So just because we know that there are mouthpieces, we know that 105.3 is in cahoots with Jerry Jones. We know that sometimes they can say things on Jerry's behalf. We know sometimes when they report stories, it's stuff that probably Jerry and his camp has leaked to them. We know that. But that doesn't mean that everything isn't true. And that's the only point I'm trying to make. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this.
That's while we're on the air.
I just saw him throw it.
So, first off, for those skeptics of what I'm about to say, and you're like, I'm tuning in to be proven wrong. If you're looking for Watergate recordings or anything like that, that's not going to be this segment, okay? And that's not how things typically work. This is not going to be, look, I have forensic evidence here of this happened or that happened. Just like when you listen to the way things broke down with the Jets, the way that that's explained is through, this is what a lot of trusted people through discussions and conversations have said over time. So that's one. Two, everything said here, There's been a lot that's been said or that I've heard over the course of 5 years. Everything said here is only the stuff that I've heard from multiple people. This is not going, none of this is just something I heard from one person. There's plenty I heard from.
Which by the way, is really the extent of what reporters can offer you. Anybody that's reporting on a team or covering a team, that's really the extent of what these guys can offer you. Unless they get like a direct quote, an audio quote from the horse's mouth. Really, that's all reporting is disseminating to the public bits and pieces of information that you've gotten from people closer to the scene than you are. So we can't crucify him for that. And that's being fair. He's just trying to preference this so no one is expecting him to have receipts necessarily. That's pretty much what this is to me. That's what it's coming off as, is him trying to pretty much say, hey, I don't have receipts. This is just what I've learned from talking to people closer to the team than we are.
From just one person, and I'm not going to talk about this because I don't know. Multiple people gives it some veracity, I think. And a lot of this, by the way, has been re-verified this week of just, hey, I'm thinking about talking about this. The third thing and the last thing before we get started, the whole why now angle of just, well, where was this the last, 5 years? And I'd said on Tuesday,
that's directly from me.
I said on Tuesday that it wasn't productive.
That is directly from me.
I was not talking about it wasn't productive for me.
That is directly from me.
I'm talking about these people who will talk to you about things, whether they're venting or they want to let you know things.
Yeah.
At whatever level they're at, they're saying it's not productive while we're sitting here trying to win to talk about these things. I don't necessarily want you to talk about it. I'm just talking to you about it right now.
And they're not going to talk to you anymore.
Right. And so it's like it's more just a, hey, I want to vent about this, or, oh, this is what's going on, just so you have some context as to what's happening here. But I don't want you to just go spewing that anywhere.
Yeah.
And not while we're trying to win something. Eventually, there will be a time to talk about it, but I don't want you to talk about it until that time arrives.
Okay.
My favorite response to...
Okay, so translating that for the people that all they hear coming out of Bobby Belt's mouth is wah, 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 Jerry, slurp, slurp, wah, 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 wah. Because that's all some of y'all are hearing right now. To translate that, he's essentially saying that the information he's about to disseminate and the things he's about to discuss are things that essentially he was told in confidence, but the person that was telling him this things in confidence let him know, like, hey, I don't mind you, letting people know these things, but wait till after it doesn't necessarily affect my job anymore, right? And that can happen sometimes. That 100% can happen. You will receive information. Hell, I've received information that people are like, hey, just don't say anything. Sit on this for a little bit until this happens. And then you say something, But besides that, That's pretty much what Bobby Belt's trying to say. Yes, sir. I'm good, Jared Thomas. Yes, sir. All right, let's get back into it.
That thought and notion, and I've tweeted a couple morons over the past few days, and they go, I don't get it. My favorite line is, you're right, you don't get it.
Yeah,
it's the same Jerry, Steven, why don't you cuss them out, people? You don't get it. That Choppy's making T-shirts about...
Sean Sharif comes off as a very, very miserable little man. Hey, man, if I ever start coming off like Sean Sharif on the channel, please, y'all, let me know so I can course correct my energy, because he comes off as very, very miserable and disgruntled, bro.
Witten
waiting.
Mine is, if you don't get it, you don't get it.
Yeah, and I think also
y'all leave a like for me coming in.
The full picture matters now. Like, we have a complete picture, and there's been a lot of discussion about Mike was done wrong or he was put in an impossible position. And there are a lot of things about the job here in Dallas, and for Mike specifically, that he was put in a very difficult position. There's no doubt about that, and that has to be owned. There's been plenty of discussion about that, though. I don't think there's been nearly enough discussion about what does Mike have to own about how things went wrong here. There's a lot that was within his control that was out of his control in a lot of different instances. And I think the first thing to start with is...
Let's get to 200 likes and we're going to do a mannequin challenge in this mother sucker. 200 likes!
Is 2020 when he gets hired, he had been out of the league for a year and a half or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was like December or something like that.
Had no idea what was coming in March of 2020 in terms of just the limitations that would exist in a COVID NFL.
Right.
But when he hires his staff, he hires, I think the number was, it was 5 or 6 guys, 5 or 6 assistants that he hired, like position coaches, full-time position coaches, and an assistant coach had not been employed in the NFL the year before. It was considered by some at the time to be, are you hiring buddies here? Buddies who none of the NFL wanted to hire after.
Okay. Here's the first point of contention here, because like I said, I kind of looked at this about halfway through the first before I got on stream. Here's the first point of contention here. I appreciate you, Carl. Go ahead and donate in the chat if you feel that way, Carl. Show me it's real. Show me it's real. The reason that we feel. Carl, show me it's real. And sending me a donation through the link in the chat. But for real though, this part right here, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, all head coaches do that. In fact, Sean Sharif is about to offer that devil's advocate argument. He's about to actually say exactly that. All head coaches do that. Here's the thing. What Mike McCarthy did, and this is what kind of put a puzzle piece together for me, because when I listened to this first way through, and I listened to this first for a reason, because I want to kind of tune myself so I could get into the right space to really break this down properly for you guys. When I listened to this, and then I gave myself a little bit of time to think about it, I was like, ooh, a lot of this does make sense. Ooh, it does actually make sense why Jerry moved the way he did a little bit with Mike McCarthy. Although it also makes sense what people feel about Jerry. Some of the stuff does start to make it a little bit better. Hey, Carl! I don't know about your voice coming over my ear like that, talking about some, it's real. But Carl, 5 for Carl, man. Appreciate you, Carl. Carl, man, with the first dono of the damn stream, we almost an hour in. First dono of the stream through the proper mechanisms. David got the first one with the 20 ball. Appreciate you, David. But yeah, this would be like you going and hiring a bunch of unqualified friends. Yes, it's okay for a coach to bring their own guys, but you want to make sure that the guys that you bring can actually do the job, especially when you're bringing them to a industry that's the highest level of a particular profession in the NFL. So let's keep listening, because this stuff is actually making some things make sense. That's why I said I'm listening to this with objective ears. Take y'all angry ass ears off and put your calm ears on.
After it went poorly, there's one thing for us to take a chance on you. We're taking a chance on an entire staff or entire coaches that nobody had employed in the NFL last year. All right.
This information, Riverside John, I will say this. 90% of this information probably means nothing to Cowboys fans today. and won't mean anything to Cowboys fans tomorrow, next week, or the month after that. But 10% of this information for the Cowboys fans that's willing to listen and don't want to just exist in perpetual pissed offtivity, for the Cowboys fans that want to listen, 10% of this information will make some of the things that's been going on and how some of the decisions they've made, it will make it at least make sense to you. You won't necessarily agree with it still, but you will at least make it make sense, and a reasonable person will have to come away from looking at this like, okay, that does kind of check out a little bit, right? So let's keep it moving, y'all.
Autonomy, do it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it raised an eyebrow at the time for some people, just like, okay, we'll trust you. You're building a staff here, but just, all right, we're wondering, is this?
We almost at 200, y'all. Keep running the lights up for me, man.
There may be some friends.
Let's get to 250.
Even the guys who were employed the year before. Mike Nolan was brought in here as the defensive
See, that's the
coordinator.
thing. So Mike essentially brought a bunch of guys who were unemployed. He brought a bunch of Kroger's baggers with him to coach the Cowboys. It's going to lead to a bigger point.
There's a lot of discussion from people at the Saints who were telling people at the time, we're not exactly sad to see Mike Nolan leave as our linebackers coach.
But a lot of coaching is a buddy system.
Right.
Sure. There's
You know what I mean? Bill Belichick is hiring his buddies.
There's no
Right.
doubt about it.
Yeah,
Buddies,
who's the guy that's hiring as the
Bill Belichick is hiring his buddies who've won Super Bowls, man. So, not the same. Not the same.
special team, Mike Pryfer?
not rejecting that idea at all. Just setting up why certain decisions were taken out of his hand at some point.
Okay.
It was a lot of coaches who people just wondered, are these the right guys for the job? Whatever, fine. Do things your way. As much as it was like, well, Mike decided for continuity to retain Kellen Moore. Yes and no.
A lot
of that was...
He's about to explain the Amari Cooper thing as well. That's why this is very interesting stuff.
There was heavy influence of like, we really think you should keep Kellen Moore.
GMC Sierra.
All right. Stop that before y'all get me copyrighted. All right, yeah. So he's about to get into the Amari Cooper thing. Dak and Mike not liking each other. Why some of the decisions were made that they were made while Mike was working there. And again, yes, some of this stuff is probably directly coming from Jerry and his camp to try to, I guess, kind of control the narrative of the media. But when you actually look at the events that took place, the hirings, the firings, the decisions that were made, a lot of the line of thinking does line up. And that's all I can say, man. That's all I can say. I'm trying to be as objective as possible because I don't want to be yet another Cowboys fan just getting up here and ranting about Jerry Jones like I've seen way too many people do.
Doug Nussmeier gets bumped up to quarterbacks coach with Kellen, or the previous year had been...
Oops. Damn. And God damn it, I'm doing crazy stuff. And what the hell is going on? I just did a lot of crazy stuff, and Jerry does deserve it, by the way. Let me use space
as much
instead.
as it was
that
like,
wild.
well, Mike decided for continuity to retain Kellen Moore.
The hell?
Yes and no. Well, I mean, a lot of that was, there was heavy influence of like, we really think you should keep Kellen Moore. In that process, Doug Nussmeier gets bumped up to quarterbacks coach with Kellen, or the previous year had been bumped up to quarterbacks coach, and he gets retained as part of that because just continuity saves the relationship that exists with Dak. They run into problems really quickly. The COVID era had been, you consistently would hear Mike and other people talk about like, I was really only here for 4 years, or really this is year 4 here because year 1 didn't really count.
Yeah,
it was tough for a lot of people to just accept because it's like, well, it's also year 1 for Ron Rivera and things have gotten better in Washington this year, or oh, this has worked out. Why is this Zoom era, Microsoft Teams meeting there so difficult for you guys?
And I will say that. I will say this. This is where I say you have to take some of the information that you're getting and apply it to things that we ourselves have experienced in our reality while being fans of the Cowboys. I will say this. We ourselves have heard Mike McCarthy give oodles and noodles of excuses. Like, tons of excuses that don't make sense. Excuses like we're still trying to work out the details in week 8 of an NFL season. We've heard Mike McCarthy lay out the excuse carpet. We have heard him do that. So if he's willing to do that to the public and to the media, then there's no reason to think that he wouldn't tell his bosses that he couldn't accomplish something he needed to accomplish because of a circumstance that was out of his control. I will say that, and I will also say this: if you offer too many excuses to your bosses in the real world, in real life, they don't care if the excuse is legitimate. Oh, I was late to work because there was an accident on the freeway. When there was a 18-car pileup on the freeway for real, they ain't gonna care. They gonna be mad because you wasn't there early enough to help them flip them burgers, and they had some customers was pissed off and cussed them out and called their grandbabies names. So they ain't gonna care about that damn 18-car pileup on the middle of the road, right? So I'm just saying, Mike has used a lot of excuses to us, and that's what been one of my biggest things with Mike McCarthy this season. If you go back and actually look at the times I've criticized Mike McCarthy, it has been the excuses. It has been just not being real about what the hell he's not doing, what's going on, what we all can actually see is happening. It has 100% been excuses, man.
Specifically. And I think it just raised questions of, obviously there were challenges that existed, but were these challenges that existed amplified by the fact that you hired a bunch of coaches that people wondered if they should have been in the NFL anymore anyway? And did you make the right calls there and the right decisions? So August...
Man, some of y'all need to let this Tony Romo for OC thing go, man. Some of y'all gotta let the ghost of Romo go, man. Some of y'all gotta let the ghost of Romo go. If he is the OC, all I gotta say is I really hope he's not coaching the guys on how to hold a snap. All right, let's continue.
They roll around into training camp, their weird modified training camp, and there's early tension between, I think, Kellen and Mike.
Okay.
Because Mike has
important.
his own ideas
Listen.
about what he wants to do. Philosophically, they're not the same guy at all. They're not the same coach. And I think Mike had said previously he was never going to give up, offensive play calling again. So coming in here doing that was not an evolution of just, I've changed my mind again. He just wasn't getting play calling at the time. But he still wanted to influence it. And he still wanted to. We had that discussion when we said, if he comes back, is he going to have play calling? And if he has play calling, how much are they going to trust that he's going to keep his hands off of it? Because I think that was a tension point for Kellen Moore to feel like, dude, you need to give me some space to do the things that we want to do here. All right? I know philosophically you don't agree with some things.
I have no horse in this fight. Kellen Moore is awful. Mike McCarthy's scheme is equally awful. I have no horse in the fight. I don't care if Mike wanted to do more while Kellen was here, and I don't care if Kellen was like, Mike, leave me alone. Both of y'all suck. So I don't care, bro. I don't have a dog in that one. But just analyzing it, being objective and analyzing it. Right? If you hire someone, let them do the job you hired them to do, especially when you were hired under the pretenses that you would allow the people that were already there to do the job that they're there to do. Okay? I'll just say that.
But you need to give me autonomy. And so I think that created some natural tension where Kellen didn't always feel like he had the autonomy that he needed to have.
And real quick, I do think this is one of the problems here. Like, when you're bringing in...
You say Romo was as good as anybody in the league when he was in the league. Oh, boy. I love the Cowboys, too. How about them Cowboys? I love them, too. Let's keep going.
And you can't just... Like, when we did this show, Sean and I met like 2 days prior to doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked, but, I mean, not at first. Like, at first, it was like... It was like the first show. I remember the first show. It was very, like... It was awkward. Like, we didn't know how to play off each other yet.
Yeah.
That is one problem here. Like they want to force somebody on the coach, and make it work out of thin air. It just doesn't happen.
I agree. I don't blame Mike for being like, yeah, you're the coordinator, but I'm not going to just blindly give you all the power. I'm the head coach.
Right. But the ultimate authority in terms of just what gets done here is going to be the general manager. And so if the general manager has somebody in charge of play calling, well, Mike, you're overstepping bounds now. You're overstepping directives at this point. And you understood the terms of it when you got here. You wanted to get here under certain terms. I will say, by the way,
that's true. And that's true. Yes. Yes. Both things can be true, y'all. Part of this is Jerry trying to control too much because, to be honest, anytime you hire a coach, you should fully give him all the rope he needs to hire everyone else that he needs on his staff. He should have full discretion as to who he hires for his staff when you hire a coach. But, with that being said, and that is true, I know that's where a lot of you guys are coming from, and that is a very, very, very true sentiment. But, if you are going somewhere, and I've been in situations like this where I've been hired to run someone's business, and they already have a lower level manager in place, but they want to keep that lower level manager, and essentially they want you to come in and help that lower level manager get up to speed, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be fired, but that means you just better be damn good enough at your job so that you still hold value, and they want to promote you or keep you in a company at a similar position somewhere else, right? That happens. That happens in the real world. So I will say this. Mike McCarthy accepted the contract. He accepted the head coaching position under the presumption that Kellen Moore would be the offensive coordinator and the play caller. And if he agreed to those terms, then yes, he is overstepping the understanding, the basis in which the agreement was built on. He is overstepping that. I'm being objective. Both sides are true. Both things have validity to them.
It's been laughed off or pushed off. The whole, I didn't watch every play of the 2019 season that was made there. There were a couple people that with the Cowboys that didn't sit well with. Not like clearly.
Well, that's not your fault for believing it.
Not everyone laughed it off.
Not believing it. It's they felt a little bit like, understand it's a joke. You're kind of making a mockery of this though on your very first time talking to people. We don't love that, and so I think that didn't necessarily set a great tone. September rolls around. They are getting run in some of these games. Even the first game they won against Atlanta, that was one where
the watermelon kick.
That was the watermelon kick, and they were down big. I mean, they were very close to being 0-4 to start the season, and not just 0-4, giving up historic numbers on defense, which was Mike Nolan, and was a Mike Nolan. Was a Mike McCarthy decision, a Mike McCarthy hire. You started hearing about some instability, specifically after Dak went down. Because when Dak went down with the injury, that's when Jane's report comes out in October that says 2 separate players tell her coaching staff's bad. Just, it's not good.
Right.
And there was some.
And I'm going to say this. We have heard even players this season complain about how practices have been run. We have heard players kind of complain and allude to the fact that the coaching staff is kind of wiggity whack. I know a lot of people feel sideways about Zeke. I know Mr. Antoine is going to love this one, though. I know a lot of people feel sideways about Zeke. A lot of people feel sideways about old Zeke Elliott. But I talked to his dad. In person. And one of the big things that his dad kind of let be known was the fact that one of the biggest issues Ezekiel Elliott, really the biggest issue Ezekiel Elliott had with the Cowboys was the running back coach, was the coaching in general, was how the staff was running things, was how they went about coaching football players, how they relied more on the numbers and the analytics than what's actually happening on tape, looking at the tape and seeing what's actually wrong. They have coaches in place that have never played or have never actually just been around the game enough in the way to where they would actually know what the hell they're teaching to guys. I'm sorry. Coordinators, you don't have to play the game. I don't feel like you have to actually have played football to be a head coach or a coordinator. I don't. I think you have to be a supreme manager. I think you have to have an outstanding a way or of leadership about you, and I think that you can get away with being a head coach or a coordinator without ever actually having put pads on, because both of those are more strategic positions. Those are more about X's and O's. Those are more like chess positions, right? Positional coaches, I will die on this hill. Positional coaches should have played the sport, and they should have played the sport at the position that they're teaching. That is the hill I will die on. I think if you're someone that's trying to break into coaching and you haven't played the game, that's when you start off as like one of those film scouts or quality control assistant or like a Sean McVay type of route, right? I think that's when you go that route. But positional coaches should absolutely be guys who have actual personal experience playing that position. How else can you teach someone the nuances of playing a position? How else can you teach someone like how to deal with the actual physicality of playing a position if you don't actually understand it yourself? How can you try to make an offensive line that's nasty or running backs run a certain type of way when you've never actually toted the rock before? So I do believe that the coaching staff has been an issue beyond just the first season. It's still been an issue even as recent as this last season. And the issues with the coaches have been an issue, and a lot of this is Mike McCarthy's insecurity, which honestly I believe, based on things that Mike McCarthy has done, said, and we've seen. So let's get right back into this.
Some issues keeping everybody under control, especially once Dak was out and rehabbing, because Dak is such an important figure in the locker room and helping settle everything. It felt like there was a little bit of control issues. There were a lot of issues with Everson Griffin at the time. There were a lot of issues with Aldon Smith at the time. Those were sincere problems that they felt like there was a void of, just like, where's the leadership here? Who's really in charge? Who's running things? And it got to the point that, we're not going to play the clip, but I'll say it. There was the very famous Hayden Hurst clip with Dak Prescott, where he approaches him after the game, mic'd up, and he says, you know, hey, I respect what you said about mental health, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Not blah, 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 but you know what I'm saying. The very cut before that, the Atlanta Falcons unintentionally left on the editing room floor. In fact, you know what? We will play it. I don't care, because I don't want people to think I'm just making up this cut. The Falcons accidentally left on the editing room floor, or didn't leave on the editing room floor, Brandon Carr, a former teammate of Hayden Hurst, going up and talking to him afterwards, where Brandon Carr, as you will hear in this clip, and it's a little difficult here, so I'm going to tell you what he says in advance, where he's catching up with Hayden Hurst, and he says, the coaches are S. Play it, Peyton. This is clip 1.
Damn, she sounded like she's about to bust one. Hold up. Made my nipples perk up. All right, anyways. Very, very interesting clip coming. Let's go ahead and skip this ad real quick.
What's up, boy? So good to see you, man. Likewise. How you doing? I'm trying to hang in there like the coaches. I love it, man. Good time, bro. Good to see you.
RS.
Listen, okay, you heard it there. I'm gonna kind of give y'all an audio captioning of this. Hold up.
Play it, Peyton. This is clip 1.
What's up, boy? So good to see you, man. Likewise. How you doing? I'm trying to hang in there like the coaches.
Okay, it was right there. Did y'all hear that? I don't know if y'all heard it. It was right there. Let's play it again.
Clip 1.
What's up, boy? So good to see you, man. Likewise. How you doing?
So good to see. What's up, boy? So good to see you, man. Likewise. How you been? All right, listen. We hanging in there, but the coaches are ish, though. That's what Brandon Carr said, apparently, in reference to the Cowboys coaches.
I love it, man. Good time, bro. Good to see you, man.
And they couldn't.
Yeah. So Brandon Carr, add Brandon Carr to the list of players that had a negative review of the Cowboys head coaches. And again, this is something that's been a reoccurring issue for a while now. It's been an issue for a while now. So let's keep it moving.
The Falcons, they didn't hear what was said. They heard S word, but there was, I don't know. Okay, well, we got to bleep that. I'm not sure what else was said. It was something, though, as soon as attention was brought to that, people kind of circled back. That disappeared from the Falcons website. I don't think that mic'd up segment exists on the Falcons website anymore. You can find it on YouTube repurposed, but it doesn't exist there anymore. So clearly there was some discontent in the locker room with the way the coaching staff was being handled. All of that leads to also that you've got the issue in November when Andy Dalton gets knocked down in Washington. And nobody replies to John Bostic and what he did.
I remember that.
There's some sense from people in the Cowboys, I think, that that's a leadership issue.
And that was the dialogue. See, this is what I'm saying. We have to put together some of the stuff that he's saying with stuff we actually experienced in our reality as fans of this team. That was 1,000% the dialogue after that game where Andy Dalton got his block knocked off and no one did anything. Everyone immediately was like, bro, what in the hell is going on with this team? They are putting soft. Honestly, I think that's really when that soft moniker got put on the Cowboys. And then it started being related to like the run defense and everything else and the physicality they play with. But that was like a flashpoint of softness for the Cowboys, because that was just something that you don't see. No matter how bad NFL teams are, when you see a quarterback get a late hit put on them or something like that, you see someone get in their face. No one got in their face, and that was definitely something everyone was like, bro, Mike McCarthy, what in the hell? Like, so that's true. That is true.
That's young players out there, but you guys have clearly, this coaching staff has not set the right tone or culture or anything else. A lot of these, I think, can be explained ways. First year, lack of communication.
Miss Felony Strutter, you gotta relax. Miss Felony Strutter, you gotta relax. And I know you capping about Zeke's daddy being a piece of S because you be coming on my videos sometimes and completely misconstruing the stuff that I'm saying. So I know for a fact I don't need to believe what you saying is face value. And you got to relax, man. You don't know these people on a personal level to be calling them names and stuff like that. I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it a buck, man.
The tone
Y'all
for
be
them to
getting
get
out of
to
control,
2021,
bro.
and I think a lot of people at the Cowboys
Leave
felt
that
like,
man daddy alone.
all right,
He believe in his son,
Mike,
man.
we did it your way with some of these staff hires. Some of this is going to be our recommendation now because this didn't work out the way it needed to.
That point right there was so important to me because I believe honestly that point that he just made about, we all remember how the first season of Mike McCarthy's stint as head coach went. We all remember Mike Nolan being hired as the defensive coordinator from being a linebackers coach with the Saints. We all remember how bad that was. We all remember this stuff, right? Why wouldn't we think that if, I'll put it like this. I'm going to put y'all in a different pair of shoes because I want to take y'all out of the mindset of being a fan right now and being just a Cowboys fan and having like a predisposed disposition of hating Jerry Jones. I'm going to put you in the shoes of a business owner. Let's say you own a business. Let's say you own a restaurant, because that's just one of the easiest businesses, and it's something I think everybody will kind of understand. Let's say you owned a restaurant, and for your restaurant, you had to hire a general manager for that restaurant. And initially, when you hired the general manager, you let the general manager know, like, hey, I'm going to oversee the process to make sure you're not doing no crazy stuff, but I'm going to allow you to build your staff. I'm going to allow you to fill your staff up. That's what you tell your general manager when you hire them for your restaurant, right? When you hire them for the Cowboys chicken shop, right? You hired a general manager for the Cowboys chicken shop. And then that general manager hired a bunch of their buddies to help manage as shift leaders and just help play other roles that were important to the functionality of your restaurant that you're making money off of, right? And let's say you let this happen for a year. You let that staff sit in place for a year, which is way longer than what that staff will be in place for in real life, by the way. But you let that staff sit in place for a year, and that staff performed to a historically bad level. I mean, literally historically bad, to the point to where the night shift was putting up reviews that had never been seen before in restaurant history. Because that's essentially what Mike Nolan was doing for the Cowboys. His defense put up historically bad NFL numbers. So that GM that you hired to run your restaurant, and then they hired all their buddies, and when they did that, you were like, are you sure you want to be hiring all your family members and buddies? You know that doesn't usually go well. I mean, they don't really have any experience. They don't have a real resume. But no, they're my people. Trust me, they're gonna do the job amazing. All right, I guess. So you let them run the Cowboys chicken shop for a year, pretty much as a best friends club, right? And you're performing historically bad. Then you have to make a change. You force the GM. You're like, hey man, I caught the night shift manager stealing from the register. You gotta fire him. I don't care if that's your brother or on your sister's side or whatever. I don't care. You have to fire him. So now you fire that manager. I cannot say I blame Jerry Jones for looking at how Mike McCarthy filled his staff the first time and being like, actually, this time we're going to give you a guy. And then the guy you happen to bring in just happens to help turn around the fortunes of your restaurant. The assistant manager that you bring in to help close the night shift completely changes around how night shift is performing. And now you're getting 5-star reviews out the wazoo. You're making more money than you've ever made. You're putting up amazing numbers that you just haven't seen in your restaurant in a very, very long time, right? Aren't you going to be more confident in your ability to hire people for jobs now, even though you have that general manager that's in place running the Cowboy chicken shop? Does that make sense to y'all? Does that make sense to y'all? Y'all see what I'm saying? I'm about to block, bro. Ultra Cowboy, shut your goofy ass up, bro. I would never understand. Some of y'all literally will come to my content, create reasons to be upset, come in here, and it's like you wake up and you feed off of coming and be like, let me mess with AOC. I hate that guy. He's actually making something of himself. Screw him. Let me go criticize him on stuff that has nothing to do with the subject matter. That's what some of y'all wake up doing, man. Some of y'all be waking up on that BS, man. He said, I will whip your ass, pendejo, eh? I'm an Alaskan warrior. Ah, run. Shut your ass up, Ultra Cowboy. Shit, see me outside, boy. See me outside. All right. Y'all get what I'm saying, though? Does that make sense? So if you're Jerry Jones, wouldn't you now trust your ability to find, to hire a coaching staff more than what Mike McCarthy did? I'm not defending Jerry. I'm not defending Jerry. Yeah, Ultra Cowboy, I'm going to run my fat boy meat all up in your mama's disgusting, rat-infested ass mouth and then go bust a nut on your forehead, bro. And I ain't going to block you. I ain't even going to block you. But anyways, does that make sense? Kenshin said, I hear what you're saying about Dan Quinn, but our run defense has been suspect before, during, and after Quinn. Have we had the same now you're getting into semantics, bro. We're talking about Dan. Bro, that's not the point. That is not the point. The point is, Mike McCarthy hired an original staff. He brought that staff in. They were completely incapable of doing the job to the point to where they performed to a historically bad level. They had to fire one of the people that was responsible for that historically bad performance. And then Jerry Jones said, you're going to go with this guy this time. You're going to go with Dan Quinn. And then that move that Jerry made actually ended up making the defense 1,000 times better. Even if it still had deficiencies, it performed way better. Jerry's choice was better than Mike McCarthy's choice. That's the point. That right there is going to encourage Jerry to feel like he knows better than Mike. He's not going to trust him to make his own decisions anymore. That's where I'm coming from as far as us understanding, not agreeing with, we're understanding why the team was moving the way it was to a degree, right? That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Ultra Cowboy, this man here. Oh, Lord, get your stupid ass off my channel. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. All right, let's get back into it, y'all.
The Cowboys brass really pushes for Dan Quinn, not Mike McCarthy.
The goofy ass.
That's a
goofy
higher
ass. Your mama should have swallowed you.
Mike McCarthy, to be clear, gets along with
should've
Dan
threw it
Quinn,
on the
likes
wall.
Dan Quinn. Those are all.
Your mama should have pulled a Drake and put some Tabasco sauce up in that joint. Killed the sperms.
Two things. Doesn't dislike Dan Quinn at all. Dan Quinn was
Go drink a bleach smoothie.
A figure that, like when we talk about the Jason Witten thing here,
it's a big ass
Dan
mouth.
Quinn was a big figure hanging over Mike McCarthy's shoulder for 3 years.
Yeah.
That was not media narrative. That was a very real thing that Mike McCarthy.
Remember when McCarthy called the Rich Eisen show?
Yeah.
But that was really bad by
Shut
Jerry.
your soup coolers up,
Actually,
Ultra.
Dan
I know you
Quinn
can't
could just
talk
take
anymore. You
over the
still
job.
hear mad.
Yeah, and that was.
I know you hear mad
I
then.
think the year after, it was after his first year here, where he said, "Yeah, Dan would be a great coach of the Dallas Cowboys." But that's something where the Cowboys said, "Look, your defensive coordinator, Buddy Hire, that the Saints were apparently happy letting leave as their linebackers coach." That didn't work out. So
Rich
you're
Carlton,
taking on
Rich
Dan
Carlton,
Quinn. I don't.
Rich Carlton, y'all are not. Stop. Stop. Stop, Rich Carlton. Stop, man. Y'all got to stop doing this. Stop making everything else about something else. Stop mixing up the discussions, the argument. It's not about the run defense. It's not about that. It's about, was one better than the other? Was Dan Quinn a better defensive coordinator for the Cowboys than Mike Nolan? That is the only question that needs to be answered. We don't give a damn about the run defense and all that stuff. We care, but that's not relevant to the conversation. That is not relevant to the conversation. Baby flip, they're not getting me off my square, bro. This is entertainment. Relax. That's not part of the conversation, right? Was Dan Quinn, Tyrone Church said yes. Was Dan Quinn a better defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys than Mike Nolan? Forget the details of it. I'm talking about ultimately both of their stints are over. We can grade this now. Which one was better? Which one was better? Now you're trying. See, there we go. It wasn't the same result, Ben. It wasn't. You're one of those fans that looks at things in absolutes. You will never be successful in life if you can't learn anything from the gray area. And that's real spill. That's some shit you need to write down. Maybe go get it tattooed on your arm. So you can look in the mirror and remind yourself of that every day. You will never be able to get better. You will never be able to get successful if you can't take lessons from the gray area. If you're not learning the stuff from the in-between, bruh. It wasn't the same result. Because Mike Nolan being here was a historically bad defense. Dan Quinn being here, he had a top defense, regardless of what the playoff results was. Because the playoffs is about more than just one player, one side of the ball. It's about the entire team's effort, bro. The results were not the same, and you're being a foolish football fan who does not deserve to have any football conversations if you're going to sit there and make the argument that Mike Nolan and Dan Quinn had the same level of success in Dallas. That is not true. That's not true. That's not how coaches are looked at. That's not like how coaches are graded. That's not how NFL execs look at this thing. They don't look at it based off if you never won a Super Bowl and you didn't do anything. That's not how these people look at this stuff, y'all. It's not if you didn't win a Super Bowl, you didn't do nothing. That is not how they didn't do anything. That's not how anybody should look at any facet of life. If you didn't win Best Teacher of the Year award, does that mean you're not a good teacher? Does that mean you didn't do good things? If you didn't win Employee of the Month, does that mean you're not doing your job at a high level? You see what I'm saying? Like, what is this weird ass ring culture? Don't bring the ring culture shit on my channel. I'm gonna chop it down every single time. I'm gonna chop it down every single time. 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 I don't know. Hey, man. Hey, some of y'all need help. Some of y'all need therapy. That's all I'm going to say to some people in the comments. Some of y'all seriously need some therapy. And I'm sorry that I'm not here to give y'all the attention that y'all so desperately lacked growing up as children. Do better. George Bush lied to us. Some kids were left behind, I see.
Don't care if that's uncomfortable for you. We're trying to win games here. And that's what's going to happen. And so I think that became I know that became a tension issue that Mike expressed to people where he would.
Because, Ben, it's important because it's informing people from being just balls of angry ignorance, Ben. Because when you come to people's channels and you make the type of debates and arguments and the points that you're trying to make, Ben, you look foolish. You look like an uninformed fan. You look like someone that's not meant to be taken seriously. You look like someone has no clue what the hell they're talking about. It's about making a more informed audience altogether. Instead of people just walking around angry, oh, Jerry got too much control. At least have some context to it. At least have some context to it. At least know exactly why things were happening. What made it happen. We know the results of stuff. Now we need to know why certain things were happening so we can identify that type of thing in the future. Period. It's just about learning, bro. It's about learning. It's about learning. Why are you watching this stream? Ben, why are you watching this stream? Is you watching this stream going to help you in any way, bro? Same question. You don't know why. You're just learning.
Hearing all that noise, and that was distracting for him, and that he didn't like necessarily having somebody of Dan Quinn's prominence who could easily take over his job being oversold. I think that existed with Zimmer. I think when Zimmer got hired here, I don't know how much Mike loved that idea.
That sounds like speculation. The Zimmer thing sounds like speculation to me. He said, I don't know how much Mike loved that. That sounds like speculation to me.
Call.
No, and you can hear Zimmer in some of the interviews this offseason.
Do you know who Mike wanted?
No, well, I don't know.
Did they go to D.C.?
I don't think that he... I think that there's somebody on staff he probably could have elevated. That I don't know. I can't say with certainty who he would.
Bro, Miss Felony started getting on my nerves, dog.
Now.
Yeah, and again, I don't think he has any personal issues with these guys.
Yeah.
I think it's more just what they represent to his own job.
Sure.
Well, that created a tension point when coupled with.
I'm not the type of creator I ignore stupidity. I let people know when they're being dumbasses. I'm sorry.
With Kellen Moore, there's two of his coordinators now that essentially run both sides of the ball. He's a CEO, just kind of supposed to oversee culture. And he's honestly, a lot of people feel like too distracted to oversee culture. He's too distracted by his assistant coaches to effectively oversee what's happening.
DB Swagger, you proving my point. You proving my point. And no way am I not trying to say it's not Jerry and Steven's fault. But what I am saying is we're just learning. We're learning about the situation. We're learning why certain things were happening the way they were happening. We're about to learn about the Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott situation, at least what Bobby Belt is revealing. We're about to learn about that from that perspective. We're just learning, bro.
Here, and he's too hyper aware of what's being discussed. He has people in his circle that will report back to him on what's being said in the media and what the speculation is and what those things that exist.
Rick Carlton, what you talking about, bro? Here's the difference. Y'all came to my channel to hear my opinion. I'm not on your channel, my brother, and I can control what the hell I see. So I'm gonna do it.
That's not a healthy place to now you can make the argument.
I didn't come to Rich Carlton's channel, attack on Rick Carlton to hear your opinion, bro.
Regardless of that.
But you will be welcome to give your opinion when we start our live video chats. When I start allowing the fans to call in and get on live video chats, you guys will be allowed to give your opinion in. We are going to start doing, hopefully 3 times a week live shows. And I am going to have at least one of those shows, probably all of them, to be honest, where I allow people to call in, talk, even the trolls. Y'all could call in, probably get cussed out and embarrassed and then kicked off. But, hey, I mean, you could call in.
Agreed to the terms of the deal, understanding that's what the offensive coordinator position was. And then the other stuff he was given autonomy over, he really didn't handle very well in terms of making those coaching hires.
But isn't all this...
Are these the same PPL who fear losing their jobs?
Probably, Byron. Probably. Probably, bro.
For the discussion that the organization is not going to be able to get the coach that we want because they operate in this way where they're like, no, you're taking this, you're taking that. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Witten.
See, here's why this discussion is important, and here's how it can relate to what's going to happen in the near future, right? Here's why it's important, y'all. That argument right there, because I feel like that's the most prevailing argument about this Dallas Cowboys head searching situation, is what Choppy just said. No coach is going to want to come to the Cowboys because of the level of control that Jerry Jones exhibits. This right here, we're about to get into, is why this is all important, right? I don't agree with that. The reason I don't agree with that is based off of just, if we go based off of this conversation and this dialogue and a line of reasoning that this dialogue is following, technically, outside of retaining one coach that Jerry really felt a certain way about, technically, Jerry allowed Mike McCarthy to bring in all of his people the first time around, right? That's how we got stuck with the Todd McGurleys and the Mike Solaris and some of these other people. That's how we got stuck with those guys, right? Technically, Jerry Jones did allow Mike McCarthy to bring all of his buddies with him. The only thing he didn't let Mike McCarthy do was come in as the head coach and the offensive coordinator / play caller. He kept an actual offensive coordinator in place, because make no mistake about it, had Kellen Moore not been here, Mike McCarthy was going to probably come in, hire like a kind of like a figurehead offensive coordinator and be the one actually calling plays from day one. That's probably what the plan was. So it's not like Jerry forcing Kellen on Mike cheated someone else out of a job necessarily, if that makes sense. So that's why I push back on that argument, and that's why this entire thing is kind of important, because it could lend to the idea of, hey, maybe we're all overestimating the restrictions in which Jerry Jones makes his coaches coach under. And I think this is a good point right here to kind of not segue completely, but to discuss something that I think is very, very important to this entire dialogue. And that's Jason Garrett coming out a few days ago and talking about what you need to do to be a head coach for the Cowboys. And we're going to relate what Jason Garrett said to what we're hearing right here, and to the argument about, oh, I don't think a real coach is going to want to come because Jerry's going to want too much control. I don't know if that argument is as solid as people really want to believe, because, again, Mike McCarthy brought his guys with him only after he failed miserably, I might add, that first season on the defensive side of the ball. Only after he failed did Jerry Jones really start to handpick and really control the moves that were being made on the staff. And even then, it was only one move. He made him bring in a new defensive coordinator. It was really only one move that Jerry was just hard, fast on, hey, this is what we're going to do, because it was the biggest position of need, and it was one of Mike McCarthy's friends that he wouldn't have gotten rid of otherwise. He would have tried to give him another year to figure it out, and Jerry wasn't going for it. So, realistically speaking, Jerry did somewhat save us from having to experience another year under Mike Nolan by bringing in Dan Quinn after he saw enough that first season. That's important because if we take a listen to this clip right here, which I believe is extremely interesting, actually. We take a listen to this clip. Listen to what Jason Garrett said about what type of coach thrives in Dallas.
There is someone who's a really good coach. There's no doubt that ownership is involved. Jerry Jones is the general manager of the team. So the owner / general manager is involved, and he should be. That's how the organization's set up. So I think you have to be an excellent communicator. I think you have to be an excellent leader. And when I say communicator and leader, it's not only communicating and leading to your staff and to your team, it's also leading upward in the organization. I think you have to have a really clear vision for what you want the team to be. And this is what I want it to look like as a team, on offense, defense, kicking game. These are the kind of players we want to have. And I think you have to be able to clearly articulate that and get everybody on the same page. The teams that have success in the NFL are aligned. They're aligned from ownership to general manager to head coach to coordinators, quarterback, all the way down through. Look at the obvious examples: Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, some of the other ones, the teams that are there year
I have a serious problem with some of the stuff y'all are saying. I have a serious problem with some of the stuff that y'all are saying right now. All right, Kinchinhan, let's go ahead and let's have a dialogue real quick. Kinchinhan says the GM doesn't do his own digging or research. He just has a team of guys tell him what's the best way to go. That's the problem when it comes to scouting coaches and their trees. Okay, Kinchinhan, what team in the NFL doesn't have a scouting department? Do you really believe that the general managers of these NFL teams, with all the other responsibilities that they have of salary cap, signing players, player acquisition, roster management, coaching management, all this other stuff, do you really believe that the other GMs in the NFL are doing all of the scouting and they're the ones that figure all of the things out that they need to do? Are you seriously under that impression that Jerry Jones is the only person that has a group of people who are helping to advise him on some decisions or things he may want to do as a GM? Are you really under that impression, bro? Like, let's be real. Are we serious? Are we serious? I'm asking. Chat. Are we really acting like Jerry's the only person that has a group of scouts working for him, that has a group of quality assistant people and different film scouts? And all? Are we acting like Jerry's the only person who's the only GM who's being told how good a lot of these guys are versus them knowing hands-on with their own eyes how good these guys are? Are we serious? Are we serious? I'm just saying, man, that right there, that doesn't pass the smell test.
And when you're the head coach, you're really in charge of that. You're in charge of the creating the vision and letting everybody know that this is what
Let me see. You said, of course not, but Jerry doesn't take a vote from his staff. Broadus claims that it's the last guy to talk to him to sway him. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care. Just like we doubt, bro. You know how many things I can pull up that Brian Broaddus has said or reported on that have been turned out to be absolutely false? Just like with anybody else. And it's not a shot at Brian Broaddus. It is not a shot at Broaddus. But this is just me saying, brother, you cannot allow the opinion or the thing that one person said who's loosely connected to the organization now. You cannot allow the opinion of that one person to completely dictate what you think reality is. That's all I'm saying, brother. Do we really believe that Jerry Jones is just doing whatever the last person who talked to him told him to do? Or do you believe that Jerry Jones has an idea of what he wants to do already, and he actually talks to people so he can get confirmation that what he wants to do is a smart thing? Do we believe that one or the one you just said? I don't know about you, but I believe that Jerry Jones has an idea of how he wants to do things, and then a lot of the people he talks to, they're there to confirm. They're there just for confirmation and verification of what he wants to do. And every now and then someone will have an opposing view, and he might listen to them or hear them out, but ultimately, there's no way you're going to make me believe that the decisions that Jerry's making with this organization are based off of whoever the last person to talk to him was. Bro, some of the stuff that y'all repeat from some of these people, say it out loud to yourself in a dark room and just figure out if it makes sense to say it out loud. Seriously. Say it out loud to yourself in a dark room. Say that out loud and then figure out if it actually makes sense. That makes no sense, bro. So you telling me any and everybody is walking up to Jerry in the organization, whoever the last person to talk to him about something was, that's what Jerry's going with. That's what you're telling me. That's what Brian Broaddus wants everyone to believe. And again, there's nothing against Brian Broaddus. That just sounds ridiculous, though. I'm just saying. See, now you're trying to apply one thing that has nothing to do with the other. How long he takes on his contracts to get done and how he does negotiations has nothing to do with the shit you just said, bro.
We want this team to look like, and we have to be disciplined to making the decisions to make this vision come alive. And I think it can be challenging in Dallas because of the ownership general manager, but also can be advantageous in Dallas because the ownership and the general manager is the same guy. So it's incumbent upon you to do a great job communicating what the vision is, being disciplined to that. And when we did that, when I was the head coach there, we drafted really good players and we had really good teams. And when we deviated from that and we were less disciplined, we weren't quite as good. And I think that's a really important thing to understand.
I know this is a big question, but if Jerry came...
I think that's a very, very interesting and telling clip right there from Coach Jason Garrett. I think that is a very concise and succinct way to essentially sum up what it takes to be a head coach with the Dallas Cowboys under Jerry Jones. And I can see that being the case. And with Jerry Jones being the collaborative leader style that he is, with him being the collaborative type of leader that he is, I can absolutely see a head coach coming in there. And to impress Jerry Jones, you have to be able to lay out exactly what you want, what you're trying to do, how you're going to accomplish it, and what it's going to look like in between time of getting there. And then towards the end of the coach giving Jerry Jones all of that, Jerry's going to say, I love all of that, but could you just do this one thing for me? If we could do this, then we can go ahead and knock this deal out. And that's when Jerry adds in a little bit of something to make Jerry feel like he had a hand in stirring the pot of figuring out this whole thing, right? That's when he adds in a splash of a Jason Witten at tight end. That's when he adds a splash of a Kellen Moore at offensive coordinator. That's when he adds a splash of a Jason Garrett at offensive coordinator. That's when he adds his little splash in, right? So I think that was important because, for one, maybe Jerry isn't as rigid as people want you to believe as it pertains to him having like a it's my way or the highway mentality when hiring people, because he didn't do that with Mike McCarthy. And factually, he did not do that with Mike McCarthy, because Mike McCarthy 100% did hire a lot of coaches that people didn't think should have been hired. Okay, so I will say that, yes, Kellen was forced on him, but Mike had control of 98% of the rest of that coaching staff. And a lot of it was bad, and a lot of it was still bad towards the end. Mike Solari, Todd McCurley, the linebackers coach, a lot of it was still bad, right? So Jerry gave him more freedom. Jerry does take a lot of control, but Jerry gave Mike McCarthy more freedom as far as developing his original staff, and that could be a positive thing for us as Cowboys fans. That's where I'm trying to make it to. That could be a positive thing for us as Cowboys fans if we actually can look at the reality of that. And if Jerry can illustrate that reality for a viable head coaching candidate, like, hey, we let Mike come in and do this, and this, and it wasn't anything like what the people in the media and the outside make it seem to be. That could be something that we're overlooking in this whole thing as far as who would take the Cowboys coaching job. I think that I just don't think that is as bad as people make you want to believe.
Garrett with Wade Phillips. Why would you want to coach here?
I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Like, at the end of the day, you can say whatever you want. It is still the Dallas Cowboys. And I know you're asking these questions that are fun debate topics. The reality is it's the Dallas Cowboys. People want to coach here, regardless of what the terms are oftentimes. I mean, most coaches want to coach here. There are big-name coaches now who there's chatter about how they think it's like the Sean Payton thing. Sean Payton knew how things operated here. Yeah. Sean Payton wants to run things all his way, knows he would not be able to do that in Dallas, and still wanted to be here because it's the Dallas Cowboys and it matters. There's an aura that exists here. The Quinn issue became something where there's just this natural tension that exists to the point where Dan Quinn had intimated people, it was my understanding, had intimated to people after a year or two, was just like, should I go? Like this feels uncomfortable for everybody. Should I just go? But I think he
and I can see that because y'all remember, again, there was a point after I think like the second year the DQ was here and then they kind of convinced him to come back. Remember, that actually happened. There was a period of time where it was like Dan Quinn almost was like deciding like, okay, maybe I'm about to go take a head coaching job, and then he did end up still coming back for another season. That did happen, and I could absolutely see the uncomfortableness of that situation of if Mike McCarthy is walking around as a paranoid ball of stress and he's looking over his shoulder constantly, and that's making him kind of micromanage or want to like meddle a little bit more with his assistant coaches and his coordinators and stuff than what he maybe should, or that's causing a stressed form of communication between himself and his coaches. I can absolutely see Dan Quinn kind of be like, maybe it's time for me to leave. Maybe I've overstayed my welcome here. And then Jerry like, no. You didn't overstay anything. You can come back. So I can see that happening.
Liked being here in Dallas. I think he liked working with Mike McCarthy on stuff outside of just that unusual factor. Now, over the course of that season, the 21 season, Mike McCarthy really sours on Amari Cooper. And I think he felt like Amari Cooper was probably one of the... In fact, definitely, he felt like Amari Cooper was one of the bad apples who was spoiling the locker room for him.
Woo! This is where it gets interesting, and then this is where a lot of us are probably going to start splitting here. We're probably going to split the Red Sea because a lot of us are probably going to be like, we're calling cap. This is where it gets kind of interesting.
Felt like Cooper and a couple other players who I've heard names, but not consistently enough to comfortably say. I've heard consistently Cooper was one that he thought was spoiling the locker for him.
In what regard? What way? Because we just hear, free thinker.
He's about to address the Dak Prescott thing, and I'm going to tell you why it makes sense. He's about to address that Dak Prescott thing.
There's the COVID aspect. It was practicing.
And Mike McCarthy was very frustrated that he would never practice. That was something that irritated him, that he'd show up for game day, but he wouldn't practice necessarily because of bumps and bruises.
And we heard that, and we did hear that. We were hearing those whispers at the time that people within the organization were frustrated by Amari Cooper's unwillingness to practice and I guess his perceived lack of toughness, right? So if Bobby Belt's now kind of putting a name to who those people within the organization were, I mean, we did hear that. I remember hearing that for sure while Amari was here. That was definitely a point of discussion.
The Cooper thing, it wasn't like there was, hey, I've caught you talking about this, or I've heard you talking about this. He just knew that he had natural tension with Amari, as a lot of people did, because Amari's a really smart guy and it's like, you need to explain the logic to me of everything.
Yes.
And a lot of people view that as defiance. And it caused some issues with Sanjay Law, the old receivers coach.
That's how I am, too. You can't I'm the same way, Amari. You can't just tell me to do something without making it make sense to me first. Like, if you just telling me to go do something, I need you to tell me why am I doing it or what mission are we about to accomplish. For real. Don't just be having me doing shit.
That was a tense point. In fact, in 2019, when he played those 3 snaps against the Jets and went out, that was a big
by the
problem.
way, but I did it again. By the way, I did that shit again. I can't believe it.
Hey, guys, did you know?
Y'all are absolutely amazing. Bro, it's 358 people in here, and somehow we're almost exactly at 300 likes. I appreciate the hell out of y'all. I know I give y'all a hard time. I know I talk smack. I know I can come off harsh at times. But I promise y'all, it's not that deep for me. It's never that deep for me. Unless I just really don't want to see your ignorance being spewed on my platform. It really is that deep for me, and I really do appreciate all of y'all. Even the people who give me a hard time and have something negative to say. I hope all of y'all well in y'all lives, bro. Unless I specifically told you that your mother should have swallowed, then I really feel that way. But outside of the people I specifically told that to, y'all all right with me, even if y'all don't agree with me. And I appreciate y'all, bro. I really do. But we gotta get through this ad.
It's like, you need to explain the logic to me of everything.
Yes.
And a lot of people view that as defiance.
Angie.
And it caused some issues.
Angie, you didn't do what? Angie. Now you know better, my girl. The door. The door, Angie. The door. Hit the door. Hit the door. How you in here this whole time talking and running your soup coolers and ain't left a damn like on the stream yet? Man, y'all trifling as hell, bro. Y'all are trifling as hell. I see y'all how y'all support everybody else. Y'all don't need to be wanting to leave a like on my stuff. I haven't even run y'all pockets. I haven't even tried to tell y'all to hit the link in the top of my chat so y'all can send some support to the show so we can get the live segments going and stuff so I can pay for them damn subscriptions that we need to use for them live shows and stuff with the call-ins. I ain't even running y'all pockets. I'm just asking for a like. I'm just asking for a like.
Sanjay Law, the old receivers coach, that way.
Sanjay Law.
Yeah, and that was a tense point. In fact, in 2019, when he
she
played
said,
those
"Pipe
3
down,
snaps
fam."
against the Jets and went out, that was a big
my
problem
bad.
for the Cowboys, where they were like, your relationship with your receivers coach can't be so bad that there's a lack of communication to even tell us how hurt you are or to how much this is bugging you.
Okay,
that's a problem.
Now, y'all, I will say this: initially, when they talked about the Amari Cooper thing. I thought it was complete poppycock. Right? But how he's describing the dynamic and how Mike McCarthy felt the way and why he felt the way and kind of putting together some of the other things that were going on behind the scenes, like the Brandon Carr, we don't like the coach, like the players having an issue with the coaching staff. If you have an issue or if you know that you kind of have a mutiny bubbling up as a coach or as a person in a leadership position, if you know you have staff members that like to talk about you behind your back or after you or trying to report on you to your boss, I think as a coach, I could see a coach not wanting a guy around if he feels like he's one of those people doing that. I could see that. And again, we heard a lot of the reports that Bobby Belt's talking about. We heard those reports. It's just at the time those reports were saying people within the organization. They weren't saying Mike McCarthy. So very interesting.
Right. They couldn't get to that point. But Mike McCarthy, I think, always felt like Amari Cooper was part of things that would leak out about.
Ken Shinhan said, so apparently, according to Mike Fisher, both Parcells and Johnson quit. They weren't fired. Doesn't that exonerate Jerry then? If Jimmy quit and Jerry... See, this is what I'm saying. Y'all got to be careful with the stuff that y'all just run with. If Jimmy quit and wasn't fired, and everyone's been mad at Jerry for 30 years because they think he fired Jimmy Johnson, doesn't that bit of information actually benefit Jerry Jones? Isn't that some water holding? Isn't that some water carrying for Jerry Jones if you're putting out that type of narrative? I'm just saying. I mean, they quit though. They quit. Everybody was mad about Jerry firing Jimmy Johnson. I mean, if he quit, why did he quit? What was Jerry trying to impose on Jimmy that made him quit? Was it just a battle of egos and Jimmy couldn't let his ego, he couldn't just let Jerry throw his ego around while he handled his business? What was it?
People being upset. And so because that a lot of times there wasn't anything that definitively pointed that. It was an assumption. He just assumed that was one of the people that was really stirring things up for him. And that feedback, that critical feedback of Amari Cooper to the front office about his practice habits, about other, how much does he care, that carried over to, I think, the front office. And that influenced.
David, I ain't gonna lie, for the longest, bro, every time I seen you in the chat, I thought you was a chick. I was like, damn, she looked like Keke Palmer.
Influenced their opinions on him to where when they traded Amari Cooper, there were a lot of people in the locker room who felt like this is Mike. This is Mike. Not necessarily pulling the trigger.
Hey man, y'all got me bent, bro. Y'all got me bent. Y'all think I'm in here making excuses for Jerry, bro? People piss me off when I can't just talk sense. I can't be objective without y'all thinking that I'm siding with Emperor Palpatine. Stop thinking I'm siding with Emperor Palpatine. Whoop yo. Stop it. I'm just speaking facts, bro. Ain't nobody defending Jerry. I do not like Jerry. I'm not a fan of Jerry. Quit acting like I am. Ain't nobody defending that fool.
Ear that led to them doing this. And it caused some frustration for a lot of guys. Like, I talked directly to players who had said that they were frustrated that they felt like Mike, after the trade, walked around kind of like, Yeah, that's crazy that we traded Amari. I don't know why they did it either.
A little disingenuous.
And some guy that didn't sit well with some players where they felt like
you know why.
If you
right. I can see this being a thing as well. Who's saying who look like who? Right, Big Sarge. I do think that some of the Big Sarge, 100%. Being objective, some of this Bobby Belt stuff is 100% water carrying, and some of it may be slanted in a way to make Jerry look better in the situation, but also a lot of it makes sense based off of our own realities of being fans of the team. A lot of it does make sense, brother. Lee, what you talking about? Who look like who? What Lee said? Lee, who you talking about, man? Y'all better not be calling me D-Lo Brown in the chat again, bro. Y'all better not be calling me D-Lo in the chat again, bro. Stop that shit, man. Stop that shit. That ain't funny, bro. But, like I was saying, I could definitely see some of the players feeling the way. If they know that Mike McCarthy probably had a little bit of friction with Amari, and they would have known. They work with these people every day. You know when your coworkers got a little beef going on. If some of the players knew or kind of picked up on, Mike wasn't the biggest fan of Amari, and then when Amari got traded, Mike was like, "Oh wow, I can't believe that. I am just as, why would Jerry do that?" I would look at Mike like, "Come on, bruh. Come on, man." So, I mean, that makes sense.
If you feel that way, fine, feel that way. But, own it when it happens. Yeah. Don't walk away from it.
Right.
And that, again, that's another tension point where it's like, okay.
Oh, damn. Hey, man, we're not going to finish until y'all done talking about D-Lo. I'm leaving. If somebody else say D-Lo Brown in the chat, I am leaving, bro. I am leaving. I'm leaving. We're turning lights off and everything. I'm leaving out of here. If I see D-Lo in the chat, I'm leaving. Damn. He said, "I ain't leaving." Devon don't know me.
Assistant coaches, you seem paranoid about guys in the locker room. Are we totally focused on football here? Are we totally locked in? And
these folks always trying to play so damn much, bro. They think people be playing games and shit. I know y'all ain't used to being around no real triple OG ass streamer like me, bro. But I won't leave this mug, man. I don't need to take this. I'm not no damn D-Lo Brown. These motherfuckers got me bit, man. I'll suplex you in your goddamn on head, bro. These fools got me bit. Let me get myself together. Let me get myself together, bro. Man, this D-Lo Brown crap, man. Y'all, boy. Ooh. All right, y'all, I have to go get some water real quick. Let's get back to the show.
That's where when you start asking questions. Did you get the most out of these 12-5 teams? And it's a worthwhile question to say, does Mike McCarthy get credit for being able to oversee something that even with those ebbs and flows and those waves still won 12 games? Is that a credit to him? Or then you ask the other side of that question, or does that mean they were limited to 12-win team?
That's a good question. That is a good question to ask. Man, hey, bro, I am about to drop kick some of y'all in this chat. That's a good question to ask. Chat, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that the Cowboys were limited to being a 12-win team, or do you think Mike McCarthy was instrumental in making the Cowboys a 12-win team? I really want to hear your answer for that. I want to hear your answer for that. Andre Thompson, your mama. That's all I got to say. Your mama. I really want to hear y'all answer for that. This ain't a court of law, though, Brian Bradford. This is a court of opinion. That's the difference between the court of opinion and the court of law. The court of law, you have the burden of proof that you have to provide. The court of opinion, you don't need no proof. You just got to make it make sense to people. That's all it is. That's all it is. Oh, y'all roasting in the chat now. Now y'all roasting. Now like O'Shea Jackson. Now y'all just naming light-skinned black people with beards. Now y'all just naming light-skinned black people with beards, and this is starting to feel a little racist. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I feel a little offended.
Could they have been better? Does that explain some of the flat performances? Does that explain why there were times as a group they looked like they didn't show up? Were they totally locked in all the time? And I think that when you look at after that 21 season ended, where they went 12-5.
Devon said, "Don't make it racial." Man, shut up, man. We've been talking about moon crickets and all kind of shit up in here. You talk about some, don't make it racial. Did your pearls snap when you clutched them so hard, bruh? I've been calling people moon crickets.
The big time disappointment at the end of the year.
I'm just playing, bro.
I'm
just playing.
That was the Dak scramble game where they were at home and just got handled. That offseason, there started to be more growing tension between staff, player, those sort of things. They draft Tyler Smith that year, and that is something that Joe Philbin, the offensive line coach, never
He
wanted.
said, he sounded like Dak's unclaimed brother. Dak, send me some money, bruh. Send me some money, brother dear.
He said that repeatedly.
Didn't trust him. Joe Philbin also
I do
not
look like Drake.
Who was here. Joe Philbin didn't think that Connor McGovern was a good enough mental processor to play on the offensive line.
Hold on, man. Hey, man, hold on. Man, are we here to talk football and y'all just trying to roast me, man? Y'all just trying to roast my black ass or what? Are we talking football still, bro? Because now y'all just roasting. I'll wait. Get it out. Get it out your system, bro. I'll wait, man. When y'all ready to talk football, let me know, bro. Let me know, bro. Because y'all roasting now, bro. Oh, brother. Y'all done? Chad, are y'all done, man? Are y'all done, bro? All right, man. All right. Because y'all is here roasting the hell out of me, bro. I am overcooked at this point.
Training
Stop
camp
it.
of 22.
Stop
and
it,
it's
bro.
got to be Tyler Smith and Connor McGovern on the left side of the line. Joe Philbin didn't want them handling any of their
Lee said this chat spiraling.
normal checks or responsibilities at the offensive line. He felt like, nope, we're not capable of doing that. We need to.
He said class off task as fuck, bro. David is firing me up. David, I'm about to put your black ass in timeout just because you hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings. Now you got to sit quiet for 60 seconds, David.
Have Dak do it.
My
Dak's
feelings is being hurt, David.
I think Dak and Kellen
take me off the grill, David.
These guys are ready.
Take me off the grill. Sit down for 60 seconds, David. Don't use those 60 to come up with more roasts, David.
Paying these guys to do this job, they need to be able to do their job.
Get your ass
so
in the corner, David.
A natural back and forth where you're petitioning to the head coach to say, make a call here. Who are you siding with? And there was an inclination to side with Philbin, and I think that created some tension.
Okay, now
where it's like
we off task. Let me bring us back together real quick. All right, so right there, when he was talking about, he said, "Do the handshake." Do the handshake is crazy. All right, right now what we're talking about is the friction between Dak and Mike McCarthy and where that was kind of derived from. Now, Dak has come out and offered public support for Mike McCarthy. So the stuff that Bobby Belt is talking about, now this is a little bit of water carrying because I don't feel like this part has anything to do or honestly is necessary to even discuss. And this is where it starts to feel a little bit like a hit job because this is unnecessary. To be quite frank, clearly the relationship between Dak and Mike McCarthy, if it was a little stressed, if there was something they disagreed about, which it happens, man. We've seen players get into it with their coaches on the sideline. So that stuff happens, and it shouldn't be anything that's out of the ordinary or considered out of the ordinary or crazy for a player to not agree with every single decision a coach is making, bro. If you've ever played sports, most of the time as a player, you don't agree with 90% of the coach asking you to do until you do it and realize, oh, okay, this is why he want me to do it. But this shouldn't be too surprising, and it's nothing to throw into the rest of this story to try to make Mike McCarthy look a certain way. To me, this right here is the part where it's like, okay, this is a little railroady. This was unnecessary. Yes, Dak might have felt like, oh, why are y'all making Tyler Smith and Connor McGovern, why are y'all making me responsible for the checks that they're supposed to be making at the line? That's just putting more on my plate as a quarterback, which, again, it makes sense. It's probably true that it happened because we heard this. We heard that Dak was being asked to do more than he would normally be asked to do certain times throughout Mike McCarthy's stint. And a lot of that probably did have to do with, he's having to take on some of the responsibility and the communication that some of the offensive line is supposed to be doing. He's kind of having to think the game through for his teammates. And that is a lot. That is a lot. So I can see both sides of that. I can see Mike McCarthy being like, hey, this is what I feel like is best. My coach is going to do what I think feel like is best. And I can see Dak being like, hey, man, this is not cool for me because I shouldn't be expected to do this and still perform at a certain level. So, yes, I think that this could have happened, but no, in no way is it important or relevant to bring it up now or to even have a discussion around it as if it's something that was such a detriment to Mike McCarthy's time here that it was insurmountable. That it was something that the Cowboys just couldn't overcome. That was something that was a true downfall, because I don't think that's the case. And I think that Dak has made it very clear throughout all of this year, all of this season, how much respect he has for Mike McCarthy and what he thinks of Mike McCarthy as a coach. I think Dak has done a very, very good job of doing that. All right, Sadiqa. She said cooking dinner. Girl, you better bring your phone in the kitchen with you. Talk about some cooking dinner. You know I'm loud enough where you can hear me on your phone. Quit playing with me. The wealth coach JD Nappywell said Big Mike had to go. He obviously had enough of the team not prepared. See Green Bay game. Right. Dysfunctional workplace is what Cowboy Execution said. Right. The man Flo said we need a coach from Bill Parcells' coaching tree. Oh no. But yeah, I can see that happening, but I just don't see the purpose of them doing this part of it.
All right, head down. We'll go to work. But some of our communication issues that exist, they're only going to get worse if we're just throwing more on Dak's plate and taking things away from this guy, and half the line's able to do this. And it caused greater issues and I think greater tension, just like, why can't we just get on the same page here? Why can't we trust guys to do what they're supposed to do?
Right.
22 goes long. You have the interception issues where Dak throws those 15 while he was out hurt. He was out hurt. He came back late in the season. He threw 15 interceptions. You remember there's the big discussion about option routes at the time.
Yeah.
Again, very publicly, a lot of this stuff, it feels like when people go, there's never been any tension. Just logically think about things. When Mike McCarthy said he wanted to take option routes out of the playbook, Dak went in front of the media publicly and said, when was asked, do you just take those out of the game plan? He said, bleep no.
Right.
And said, here's all the time. You don't see the times they hit. There's this. That'd be ridiculous to take these out of the game plan. That right there, do you think that if there's a very public, Dak especially...
My bad, Angie. That's probably why people be mad as hell. They be like, man, you too loud. They be trying to have me playing on their devices and stuff, and I be screaming and shit and getting their ass caught. My bad, man. Y'all right. Let me calm down a little bit. Let me relax. I don't want none of y'all to lose y'all jobs and be starving and hungry. Life is hard enough as it is. Let me relax. That's funny.
Who's the politician who is very measured. If there's a public disagreement like that, I think it's silly to imagine that there's no tension.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have to listen to me and
that's true.
When I say that people say that there was some tension between them, where you've got, man, you're not listening to me here. I've got coaches that I'm close with that you are clearly tense with. You're pushing out a guy who was an expert at option routes and reading the same thing that Dak was reading, and Amari Cooper, he's gone now, and feeling like it's something that's almost a little unsaid or inferred that these interceptions are on me rather than communication issues that exist because of things that maybe you didn't have a handle on.
Okay.
And I think that would bleed out at times. In fact, it was after the season.
Because I always thought that was insulting towards a quarterback. It's like, you're not capable of option routes.
Angie said, you on 20, go to a 3. God,
we need to simplify it.
Yeah,
it's like not graduating to the next level. That's the way I always viewed it.
Yeah, and I think that was that. I mean, that clearly, I don't have to say I think it was, or I was told it was. You guys publicly know those quotes are on the record. It was frustrating to Dak that they were talking about that.
Yeah.
And in fact,
that's true.
Again, I think there was an inference that more of these interceptions were on him than what the reality was, which is like internally they all know that it was miscommunication with receivers and reading different things. And the following offseason, leading into the 23 season, there was actually a talk at OTAs, and this is clip 2, where you can hear Dak is not totally happy with the way his interceptions have been represented.
Mike told us early in the offseason that you guys went over every interception last 3 years. What did you learn, and how does this offense help you, or what they're doing help?
Yeah, he didn't quite say that the right way. That wasn't all that what happened, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It wasn't quite that, you know.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded.
Hey, man, hey, Bobby Belt came with some, bro, he came with some receipts, and it makes sense.
Dak, and Dak, I don't think is going to throw anybody under the bus, and I think Dak has been. I know everybody thinks I'm biased with him, but like I feel about him the way I do because I like seen what he's done over the course of his career here, and he's an all-world leader.
Me too, Bobby. Me too, Bobby. Dak lovers unite, Bobby Belt. Dak lovers unite. I'll proudly wear that mantle as a Dak lover. Screw you guys, man. Screw you guys, man. I'll wear that mantle, man. I stand up for my QB, man. Even when he have bad games here and there, I stand up for my QB, man.
And to represent, a couple different times. No, we shouldn't take those out of the playbook, despite what Mike said. No, Mike didn't represent that the right way.
That's
that is
really
not the way
loud coming from Dak.
That is true.
Matters.
That is true. And now I'm making sense of when he originally said Mike and Dak were having issues, because a lot of this does make sense. I mean, even this season, we all probably remember when Dak came out this season and said he didn't like the way that the team was preparing and the way that the team was practicing. Who does that fall on as far as how the team practices? Who does that fall on? The coach, man. So even this season, though Dak has voiced his open support for Mike McCarthy, even in this season, Dak has kind of still thrown some criticisms out there that could be directly related to the coach and what the coach is doing in his employment. So I get it.
I think a lot of people have a tendency
it.
when they hear him in pockets just dismiss and go, you're reading too much into it. You see a complete picture here and you start putting them together, and I think you can see some of this chatter that exists.
Hey, man, if y'all come in here talking about...
is enough to say that's...
Hey, man, don't come in here talking about that, trying to draft Shadur stuff and cutting Dak Prescott crap that Gavin Dawson put out the other day, bro. That clickbait fucking engagement whore. Because, come on, man, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard, bro.
Smoking guy.
You gonna cut an all-pro quarterback, take $100 and something million dead cap hits where you can't do anything this year to make your team better, and then trade a bunch of picks to move up to draft a worse quarterback than the one you just cut that was an all-pro? Dumbest idea I've ever heard.
And enough evidence if you don't believe what is out there being said. After the 22 season, the Cowboys move on from Mike, or the Cowboys don't move on from Mike McCarthy. There's been some misinformation there. People have said consistently Kellen Moore was fired, that Mike decided to go his own way. That is not the case. Kellen Moore left. 100% it was Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore wanted out. There was the very famous press conference after the season where Mike McCarthy said, everybody's under evaluation. I don't want to get into anybody when he's being asked about Kellen Moore's future. It had already been determined Kellen Moore was coming back. Kellen Moore did not appreciate a public questioning of his being evaluated when they knew he was coming back. And I think that is where you see some of the tension that exists. And Kellen was like, this has been a tough 3 years anyway, where I felt like I haven't been able to do the things that I want to do. We haven't been able to trust certain guys on the offensive line the way that I want to. And now I'm being publicly speculated. I think it's time. And
this is part of the reason that you and others are saying there'd have to be a little mending offenses coming back here.
I don't think it's irreparable. I think you can. It's just, you've got to, that kind of was
messy.
Awkward on the way out.
Yeah.
And that didn't end well. And around.
Hey, man, the man Flo, your ass is getting put in timeout for that silly shit you just said. 1 minute timeout, Flo. Talking about some trade Dak and draft Shadur number. Man, shut up! 1 minute timeout.
This time, not only do you have the change of Kellen going out, it felt like there were some people in the organization, I think, felt like there was some tit for tat, back and forth coaching moves. So Rob Davis, who was an assistant coach here, who wasn't really a coach, a lot of players viewed Rob Davis as, you're the spy in the locker room to watch after us and report back to coach some of these things that he seems a little paranoid about.
The mole.
And through that, Rob Davis was let go, not by Mike McCarthy. And I think Mike McCarthy, then you started seeing some of these. Remember, we're like, why is George Edwards being fired when he's so well thought of? Why is Kellen left? Why is Doug Nussmeier being let go? it felt like there was a little bit of, all right, you let my guy go, I'm letting this guy go. And it became a little petty. And I think that's what then leads to you get to 2023 and you enter that season and there's already a lot of tension that exists.
Damn.
Because of the way things ended with a couple different coaches and the way things have gone with personnel. And then when you go forward with the offense the way you did and the struggles they had the first 5 weeks of the season, and we've talked about it, we've inferred it, we've talked about it before. After the San Francisco game, there was a lot of pushback from players on the offense, Dak, CD, others, of just like, these concepts aren't working. These things that we're doing aren't working. And again, there are two ways to view it. A lot of people want to give Mike McCarthy credit, I think, for saying, I'm going to, hands off, trust to you guys. I'm going to do it. All right, fine. I'm going to trust you guys. And I think, by the way, I want to be clear because this is something that got mixed up. By the end of 23 and then definitely by the end of 24, Dak and Mike McCarthy were on great terms. Just like Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy seem to be on great terms now. They were not always. It's the same sort of thing. And that's a relevant part of the story, too. Why were there struggles along the way? Why did they feel like they
we could finish this up. I get the gist, but let's finish it up so we make sure we don't miss anything.
Chemistry can explain some of this, where you go, all right, there were clearly some tension points here that had they been smoothed over earlier, had there not been some insecurities about other coaches or about what a player might have.
Bro, some of y'all must have been fed some spoiled Similac when y'all was kids, bro. Not only did y'all miss out on the breast milk, not only did y'all miss out on the fresh Similac, y'all were fed some spoiled Similac because y'all talk about real life as if it's a video game, bro. The stuff that some of y'all are saying don't even make sense, dog. It don't even make sense, bro. My man said, put me on timeout too. Trade Dak to Tennessee and draft Sanders. Oh yeah, trade that 12th pick to move up and get Travis while you at. Hey, you dumbass. Why would Dak agree to get traded to Tennessee? Why would Dak want to go and move his family, his white, light-skinned, complected ass family anywhere near Memphis, bruh? Anywhere near. I know that Tennessee, the Titans play in Nashville. Anywhere near Memphis, bruh. Why would Dak want to move his family out there, bruh? No. He gonna say no to the Browns, Tennessee, any of them teams. That is the point of a full no-trade clause, bruh. So Jerry couldn't have a brain spasm and do some of the idiotic stuff that some of y'all are suggesting.
Have been doing, or those insecurities not existing, you maybe don't come out so flat against San Francisco in that 21 game. Maybe you don't have these flat performances at random points during the season. You don't have the poor communication because those things would have been ironed out. But they have the pushback.
I hate y'all, bro.
Dak really takes command.
Screw you, Devin. not you, Devon Overton. I'm talking about my man, Devin the Dude 35. Screw you, Devin. Talking about some taking on the chin, man. Shut up, man.
After the bye week last year and was in a lot of control. Babe has talked a little bit, and I don't want to speak for Babe and say Babe said, but I think if you've heard Babe talk about this, you can hear Babe talking about, I think that there was some, he called it on the air with us a couple.
All right, Anthony, you got me. I was just making a joke about how bad Memphis was, bro. I wouldn't want to be nowhere near Memphis, bro. I'm not moving my family to Tennessee. Go out there with all that drama. Athletes already been getting robbed and stuff at crazy rates. You think that moving a dude that's making the most money in the NFL anywhere near Memphis, Tennessee is a good idea for him or his family? Stop it. I'm not doing it.
To Mike meeting.
Yeah.
Where, there was a point to air things out a little bit and just say, let's clear some things up. In fact, I think there was an interesting cut, and I'm not saying this is definitely connected, but I just think this is an interesting cut.
Dak is from Houghton, Louisiana.
Clip 3, Peyton. This was after the San Francisco game this year, where CD seemed pretty frustrated. And I want you to listen to this with the context of there was pushback in 23 about the offense after the San Francisco game, and then listen to this clip from CD earlier this year.
Last year we talked about this after the San Francisco game, and you had maybe the best stretch of your career. How do you look back at that and maybe channel that into similar?
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app.
That man, Bobby Belt came with receipts. He said, if I'm about to slander somebody, I'm going to have my receipts together.
What is
you
that?
You got to see his face, too.
What does that mean? Realistically, let's say somebody thinks I'm making all of this up, which I think there's been enough inference from other people that clearly there was pushback, and you can see on tape offense changed. Let's say that you don't believe that, though. Then what does that answer mean? What does a chuckle and a log? I plan on doing it again. What does that mean?
I'm too cheap for
I think
YouTube
realistically
Premium.
you can connect those dots. So by 24, when he turned over trust to the offense finally in 23 to the players, and players felt like, all right, we've got trust here. I think relationships were built, fences were mended, relationships got stronger. And that's where when people say all these public comments, yes, these public comments after a year and a half of trust kind of being rebuilt.
Okay. All right, so we kind of get the gist of. So essentially, like someone said at the beginning of the stream, man, essentially Mike McCarthy was walking around as a ball of stress, nerves, and insecurity, and that affected the way he was able to do his job, so much so to the point to where he was distracted and not trying to build this team properly, but trying to protect his own security, essentially, is what it sounds like Bobby Belt is getting at here. He outlined some issues with Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, how some of the ways that Mike McCarthy may have handled players and some of the things he may have asked them to do, and how some of that may have rubbed people the wrong way. And, you know, a lot of this, I feel like we could do this with every single coach that coaches in the NFL. I feel like you can find people that would talk to you about the negative things that those coaches did. And, I mean, that's maybe true. It may be a little bit fabricated. Who knows? But I think every coach in the NFL, when it's all said and done, when their stint is over, when their tenure is over, hell, we even saw with Bill Belichick, and he won how many Super Bowls with the Patriots? Every single coach, you'll hear these old horror stories come out about how relevant is it? Actually, not really. In the Cowboys situation, it's only a little bit more relevant because it helps us understand why teams that had more hopes, higher hopes than what they ended up living up to, why they never were able to live up to those hopes. This kind of makes it make a lot more sense. It kind of gives you some insight as to, oh my gosh, the coaching situation was a lot worse than what any of us could have thought, because it degraded to a point to where not only were the coaches working against the players, but the coaches are also trying to kind of protect themselves from the ownership at the same time, and the ownership and the coaches are being petty with each other. And all I gotta say is, holy hell, I hope we don't get Kellen Moore. That's all I just learned from this whole thing, because this whole thing, all it just taught me, it didn't teach me Mike McCarthy is a bad person or none of that. It taught me that stuff happens on the job. It taught me that in football and in sports, in organized team sport environments, disagreements happen. Not everybody's going to be getting along. Everything's going to be rainbows and buttercups. But what this taught me was we don't need anybody that had anything to do with the previous coaching staffs in any kind of way back in Dallas. We need a fresh, clean start. From a coaching standpoint, we need a fresh, clean start. 100%. We got to start this thing over. We don't need any of the carryover coaches. We don't need any coaches that had to operate under that foolishness. We don't need any of that stuff. This man just said Doug Peterson is head coach. This man just said Doug freaking Peterson is head freaking coach. Oh my God. I completely forgot everything I was talking about, what points I was trying to make. He said Doug Peterson is head coach. No, I ain't blocking him. I ain't blocking people for saying crazy stuff. I only block people for they just only hearing trying to. I mean, honestly, I really only block people if they just going a little bit too overboard with the trolling. Because I like to troll back with y'all. But y'all start going overboard and I see you in here, you ain't trying to do nothing but be hateful for real in real life, then you got to get up out of here. But this man said, Doug Peterson. He said, I definitely thought you was going to end stream after that. You're not wrong, DJ. You're not wrong, bruh. Yeah, but all that to say, we just need a fresh start. Maybe we do need a personality as strong as a Deion Sanders. And after hearing all of this and hearing what was going on and hearing what was happening, maybe a Deion Sanders wouldn't be bad. Aaron Glenn would be amazing. I told you my ideal setup, coaching-wise, is Aaron Glenn, head coach, Al Harris, defensive coordinator, Doug Nussmeier, offensive coordinator, and then you got your position coaches, whoever you want to be, whether it be a Sean Lee, Jason Witten, whoever. You got your position coaches. That would be my ideal threesome, though. Pause. But man, my man said Doug Peterson. Yeah, that let me know it's time to go pick my daughter up from school. That's what that comment just let me know. My man said Dougie fucking P. Holy crap. But either way, man, fun show. Like I said, I want to start doing this at least 3 times a week. I guess Thursday will be one of the days we ended up doing this because, I mean, y'all had a pretty good response today. Probably around the same time, around that 1 p.m. slot from like a 1 to 3 type of window, 1 to 3:20 type of window. We're going to start trying to do this 3 times a week starting this summer. I'm going to get a lot more stuff added to these live shows so I can start taking some fan call-ins and all kind of stuff. And we're going to be adding stuff to this. I'm eventually going to have to start bringing some people onto the show to speak to us and whatnot. But just overall, appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in, man. This has been fun. And let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below based on all the different conversations we've had. I think I've pretty much covered everything I want to say in this particular video. This man said, Doug fucking Peterson. Doug Peterson. That man said, don't leave daddy. I'm out of here.